4, 3, 2.
Welcome, everybody, to Plat Valorant, episode 157. I am joined here by the king, Balla, Mimi, straight off the private jet, just landed out of Brazil, and Wilkinson. What have you been, you just straight off the badminton court? What are you doing over there, Josh?
No, my job today was to escort my wife to a tattoo parlor, wait for the tattoo to be done, and then watch some Africa VODs in my car on the phone. I was just sat there like on Africa.tv trying to absorb all the data from a tiny little screen. So that's what I've been up to.
Did you get some reliable information? Are you ready to spit factual information about Sentinels?
Yes, I am.
Really?
I'm genuinely. I am so ready for that topic, but we've got many other things to get to before I can spill the juice and say the thing.
Wilkinson's got me on the analysis, the unbiased Sentinels analysis. Mimi, how are you feeling? What's life like after listen? What's life like after being an Esports Award winning Analyst of the Year? Are you taking what's happening? Autographs in the streets?
I mean, it's just the biggest thing that's ever happened to anyone in the history of the world. And, you know, I went out to get my morning coffee. 15 people shook my hands, made sure to kiss all their babies. It was a beautiful moment. It's the biggest thing that's ever happened.
Why are you turning into fucking Donald all of a sudden?
Dude, they were doing it.
When you win something big like me, the hands start moving like this. You start doing this little symbol, and you start saying that this is a big moment for our country. And I just think it's beautiful. All the people, all the women everywhere.
Did you or did you not absolutely disrespect the entire awards process by not showing up, not even submitting a video, and just taking the award and bouncing?
I may or may not have done that. And the reason is that, one, I didn't think I was gonna win, and two, I think award shows are kind of cringe sometimes, and I was thinking through it in my mind, and the idea of a video of me in my hotel room being submitted as like being shown on the Esports Awards just really made me cringe. And then I just didn't do it.
Yeah, so instead they had Mimi, a evil cat, Wormkrantz.
But to my credit, they fucked it up. They fucked up the one when they picked my award. They didn't have the envelope. They just didn't have it. So James Dash had to fucking check his smartwatch for a text from the fucking academy to pick who was gonna win, which is the perfect way to win an esports award, by the way. That is awesome. Very funny. But you know, I just thought I put in just as much as they gave back in terms of production quality.
What? What does that mean?
True. That is true.
God. And also, hold on. We really break down these awards. I'm seeing a whole lot of Valorant everywhere. Up and down the list. Coach of the Year, Potter. Breakthrough Player of the Year, Demon 1. Esports Personality of the Year, Disguised Toast. Esports Publisher of the Year, Riot Games. How much did they pay to get that? Esports Game of the Year, Valorant. They paid 2x whatever they're paying before. And they've taken down the corporate the corporate awards, which is my favorite part of the Esports Awards for sure. I love
the corporate awards.
Listen, I'm still waiting for the Podcast of the Year award. Where's that? I don't see it on the list.
Yeah, where is
enough. That? Do you guys see it? Because I don't.
I mean, we would clean up. We would absolutely clean up over there as well.
Esports Content of the Year. That should be us.
How did
Baker,
Gucci win an award?
It's awesome.
Sorry,
yeah,
what?
if you scroll up, the Esports like commercial partner of the year is Gucci.
What?
Dude, the Esports Awards might be the funniest thing.
It's so funny. It's
They made a
By the way,
backpack
for anyone who
with 100
didn't
thieves,
understand, how this worked, you could log in every day to vote and each day you would have a new vote for who you wanted to vote for. So you could refresh every 24 hours and vote for the award.
Wait,
It's
so
just
you're telling me
the most
Mimi bot
ridiculous
farmed
thing.
so that she could not submit a video?
No. I didn't bot farm, but let me tell you, when I won this award, I exposed a conspiracy when we recounted the votes. We found out that Crooked Alice voted for me 3 accounts every single day. Very crooked.
I mean, it really
But
is
we
just
still
right
deserve
for the
this
election
award. We
fraud.
still deserve it. 100%. We earned it.
Those mail-in ballots. Why I oughta.
No, but Alice actually texted me after it got fucking announced, and she just said, "Plus, I voted for you religiously every day on 3 different email accounts, but they don't need to know that."
Wait, like
That is some
Bren's Alice. That is
crazy
so
fraud.
Bren's
funny.
Alice, yes,
'Cause
Bren's
Bren
girlfriend Alice.
I mean, yeah, Bren.
So she was not putting in the same amount of work for Bren. Thank you, Alice, my goat.
God. Who did Bren lose
God.
to?
I don't
It was
know.
Uber, though. It was. I mean, Uber finally won a play-by-play caster for his Overwatch work, which he's
Motherfucker
deserved one. For
He should have got
years.
an award
Yeah.
like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
dog.
Genuinely.
Back when the Overwatch, they give him the award when the Overwatch League dies. That's kind of messed up.
It's crazy.
It's like,
I
oh
think
isn't
that's-
it?
shit, he's never going to be casting Overwatch again. We better
Quick, give him the
Yeah, I
award.
think that helped him out. Wilkinson, were you nominated? Oh, yeah, you were, because I used that silly little picture of you. Who
was,
did
I
you get
was.
beat by?
Dan Gaskin, who's a lovely guy who does color commentary for Apex, and I think he does some stuff for Halo or
FIFA
something
and
as
Halo,
well.
yeah.
He's really good. I love him.
He's very
GB has
good,
told me
yeah.
he's good, so I trust GB. He's
He used to do
probably
Valorant. Actually he catched
Yeah.
the first ever Valorant event on
Really?
like the Twitch Rivals thing with GB, if I remember correctly. Like,
Yeah,
I
remember
pushed
you
him
did
out the
some
scene
Ignition
to get
series.
my job. I couldn't allow him to continue in the scene, otherwise I knew that he'd take my job as well as my award. So I got in touch with my contacts, and we pushed him. We got him gone.
Outside of
Oh,
the
you
Esports
put the
Awards,
thing in his
good
bio.
time.
there's some other
But you don't have it in
things.
your bio?
No, fuck no.
Esports Award.
Maybe
and
you're
I mean,
not
okay,
being
I'm
nominated
sorry.
again.
That
Listen to-
sounded really condescending to people who put that in their bio, but I just would feel really weird if I did that. I don't know.
Understandable. Understandable.
Yeah,
My-
I get where you're coming from. What was
I mean,
what
you
happened to
have
end it?
clown
what?
college dropout.
Yeah, I am.
Wait,
Yeah,
what do
I
you
know,
have
but
in your
that's
bio?
what
Go up.
clown
college
college
dropout.
dropout.
Oh, this is such
And
a good
alleged
story, actually.
FOMA. That's not
Yeah.
alleged.
No, it's alleged. I will not engage with the allegations.
Stop.
You can't have this become your running joke
They've been
impression.
making it all of Brazil.
Why?
The Trump voice is very addictive once you put your hands up like this, once the
Actually,
little
last time
tiny
we were in
hands are
Brazil,
moving.
we were doing Obama voices the entire time.
That was Achilles.
There's something
That's
about Brazil that just makes me want to be a U.S. president. It's so inspiring.
It's because you're not on U.S. soil anymore. That's
Okay. You guys. There's another important topic here. And it's not in the run of show.
Oh shit.
I was going to say it at the beginning, and it's not in the run of show. And now I just remembered. This is the last episode that will be recorded in the Plat Chat compound. It is over. The era has ended. When did we move? Whoa, that's a long straw. You could hang that from the ceiling and sip it like a hamster in a cage. Anyhow, can we take this seriously, guys? This is the last episode in the
please.
compound. I can't remember, when did we move here and start recording here? Like episode 20 or something?
I'll check right now.
We've been here for a very, very long time, and this chapter is coming to a close. It's been real. We've made memories. Wilkinson, can you speak to the best of times and the worst of times?
Yeah, I would say the best of times was when Avast was pissing on Mike. That was one of the best of times. And worst of times.
Just frame that like he was pissing on Mike, the person.
Who is Michael and why was he getting pissed on?
I'm not going to correct that.
Yeah.
That's exactly as I meant it to be said. And the worst of times when those bloody people would cut the lawn for free and interrupt our show. Well, I have to cut my own lawns now, and I tell you what, I don't schedule it for when I'm doing the podcast because I can't be in two places at once.
Are you guys ready for some whiplash?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. 2 years ago, January 11th, 2021.
What do we got? Oh my god. What a time to be alive. What
I had
episode was
hair.
this?
This is, let's see. This is
Dude,
episode...
Avast looks like he's just set into a like he's set into a hole in the wall. It just looks like he could be part of the furniture.
Look at
Looks
the
like you guys are actually
decor.
talking to him too. When you guys used to like look at each other across the way.
Yeah, god, the studio is such a male living
Is this a
space.
different place?
No.
No, it's the same place.
It's just different set
Oh,
design.
wow, this is crazy.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Wow, you guys actually. Holy shit!
We
Kurt,
dressed
you
it up
should-
a bit.
You should
We
get into
did.
some
Wait,
interior
what was that
design. It
episode,
looks
Kurt?
Nice.
27, I believe.
Oh my god, so we've done 130 episodes here. That is pretty
Wow,
wild.
the 25K NSG winter preview. The big news of the day.
Yep. Listen.
Yoru is meta. Well, that one sure paid off, didn't it? Right as usual, Platchat.
Jesus Christ. Man, this is boy, this is just proof that we really we made it from the bottom, huh? Straight out the gutter back when we had 10,000 views and now we're on top of the world.
What are you talking
Oh,
about? Look
how
at all
times
those
change.
esports awards you already have on the desk. Like,
Also, we just have 2 Overwatch posters. That's the
Yeah, that's it.
We have 2 Overwatch posters. We have TF2 figurines. We have a popcorn thing.
There's nothing to do with Valorant at all.
I mean,
love
the
that
funniest
you guys
thing.
have really shitty chairs and Josh is just in a throne.
The funniest thing related to the set decor that I've seen, though, is that when so VCT Americas tried to do like a version where Platchat had a cold open. We took it over as if it was like a Platchat episode, and they blurred out some of the things in the background, but they still left a bunch of the Overwatch stuff there. They blurred out and got rid of the Lucio O's, but they just left a big a big poster in the background that was clearly Diva or something. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, it's the
but they were
Diva one up in like there.
Did you want to reveal the secret item on set, Wyatt, that's right behind you?
There's a secret item?
Just turn around. You know exactly what it is.
The tens puzzle?
No, it's next to it.
oh.
Now, I feel like I should get some like a hazmat suit. Like I'm in Chernobyl. But we got the Christmas ornament. That's on the
If that isn't hanging on one of your Christmas trees this year, you have really messed up.
I
mean,
can't wait for the
once
people
again-
to come tour the apartment and see that. Just
This
sitting
is-
on the fucking shelf.
Wait,
How
what
do
are
you
you
put
talking
that
about?
back?
It's just
Did
a
you put it
jet
behind the
knife, right?
plushie?
That is Josh,
It's
where does
Dizzy's
that
butt
fit
plug.
in the best of times versus the worst of times?
I mean, I would call it a like 6 out of 10 at least. I got the job done.
Now, for the audio listeners at home, what we're talking about is the Plat Chat engraved stainless steel butt plug that we were sent for one of the Go streams to have some silly fun with, to really get the viewership and members engaged. And I think it worked.
Yeah,
You'll find
I
that
think
in the
so.
VODs somewhere. There's
Was that also featured on the VCT Americas broadcast?
No, I removed that when I was taking the picture.
now that is that's a crazy
It was not on
Easter
the
egg.
VCT broadcast.
That's
Dude, you should have left it. Oh, that would have been so
That would've
funny.
been so funny.
And Kurt has been fired from VCT.
Christ almighty. But yeah, pretty wild. We're moving on, to the next chapter. We'll have to just, see what happens next. Cue the video with the up music of us slowly vanishing from the couch. But that is, that is very much the reality now. A lot has changed. A lot has stayed the same, huh? Like we're still having fun. That stayed the same. What else has changed? In that video, Bren was the one with dyed hair, and now that's me. We did a little silly reversal. What else has changed?
I don't know. Also, we were just looking at this image of Post Malone for a while. I don't know why. Listen.
Interesting.
There's a lot going on that we'd really have to dig into in the archives.
Who knows?
Dude, we were so much cooler before. We just talked about rant. Now we talk about Valorant all the time. It's just like,
dude, we're literally like 40 minutes into
really
this
annoying.
episode. We haven't mentioned Valorant once.
Well, we did with them winning the Esports Awards, but
holy shit!
Immortals use wait, this time Immortals use world's best scouting to find Shot Up and Dicey. The First Strike preview with Sideshow and Reinforce.
God, look at that Pringles tower. I ate all of those Pringles, by the way.
I can't believe that Wilkinson is a married man now, who's going and driving his wife to appointments in his beautiful mansion in like suburban fucking England now.
That
He
changed.
changed. I'm his Pringles Tower, Josh.
Real's younger Josh was so fucking funny too. The energy that now he's like way more chilled and he's like more like up. And before he was just like this little small. He looks small in the video and he's just like in the camera like he's just bouncing up and down. It's so funny. I don't know what's changed because you're the same size, but it's so
I got
weird.
a DSLR. I plugged that in. If you want me to swap over to the webcam, I mean, I'll do the original like setup for you if you want.
I think it's your mannerisms too. They've changed.
Oh, my Logitech camera isn't even plugged in. Actually, I can't even do that for you. But it's like,
See, you're too
just like the
expressive
olden
now.
days.
You know how to use your face to manipulate it now. It's not the same.
oh, sorry.
Yeah. Don't
You know, some things always change.
Oh!
This is on your YouTube channel. What is going on here?
It's always the French, man. It's always the French. It's something to do with the French makes me either want to,
For 30 seconds,
There's two people commenting.
Now, for the oh my god, for the audio.
Yeah, do you want to explain it, Wyatt?
Clip. For the audio listeners at home, I would just recommend watching the video at this point. Timestamp this and watch the video. Because just visual, I can't do it justice with words. But, as a little preview, Wilkinson has his nipples out. So go watch that video. Go tune in. Tap into the YouTube channel.
Nice nipples. There's some nice nipples.
Hopefully
Dude,
they
those
make
old
a short of
videos
that.
should never see the light of day. I mean, there's
Dude,
probably
Can we watch
some
the one where he
dreadful
choked
stuff
on
like
gum?
that.
Numbers. This one just breached 7 likes. It was in 6 for a while, but it's really growing fast.
What even is this?
Why is this now just a roast my YouTube presence from 9 years ago session?
Is this Half-Life? What am I? Gary's mod?
You're playing Half-Life DM with 3 other people in this video.
It's not Half-Life DM. It was like a collaborative Half-Life 2 or something. I can't even remember what it was.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Damn,
God.
Stark. Dude, shout out to
Yeah.
Stark. Oh my Christ almighty.
Dude.
Yeah, so
Maybe
a
I
lot
shouldn't have
happened in
added
the
all
Plat
those
chat
topics,
house.
Kurt.
Jesus
Which should be
wept.
the sideshow.
Yeah, that's my old. Yeah, that was my old YouTube channel.
That was your.
That was my
account?
old Twitch channel. Yeah, the _ Sideshow. Because Sideshow was taken by somebody, and then I stole it from them when I made partner.
Oh my god.
Owned.
Wait, but you still have that account. Why did you rebrand from the Sideshow to Sideshow Gaming?
I didn't rebrand to Sideshow Gaming. That was also because Sideshow was taken.
You have another Twitch account. Sorry, I'm really confused, actually. You had the Sideshow, and now you have Sideshow, but you still own the Sideshow. That's a rebrand.
Dude, I mean, I had 210 views and 7 likes. It's not a rebrand. Nobody knew anything. Nobody knew me. More people knew me as Josh. I had more people like down the road who knew me than people online. That's not a rebrand.
Oh my Christ almighty. Okay. Do you guys want to stay on this for another 20 minutes? Or what?
Yeah. Is he in a parachute?
I'm in a tent.
Yeah, that was.
I caught the lurgy at LAN.
That was. Yeah, because people did camp out in people were camping out in tents in ISOs, right? It was. Or am I just? Yeah. Man, I forgot that was a thing. God damn.
That's a nice shirt.
Those events were just. What is that? Josh has some Lacoste on.
There's a shot of my arse in one of these as well, but I mean, I'd love it if we could just move on.
Yeah, all right, let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. Is there anything else we need to say about the Plat Chat compound before we move on?
None of this was about the Plat Chat compound. We'd already stopped talking about that. We've literally stopped. Let's move on.
I'm circling back to the original thing at hand. Is there anything anyone would like to say before we move on? Let's move on.
Please.
You guys, the skin review. It's the Overdrive bundle.
Yes!
Oh my god. Production
I've been waiting
note,
for this.
use other browser. Kurt, keep that one in mind as we dive into this.
Oh my. Overdrive.
What?
Uh-oh.
They
We
ruined
didn't
our
use
topic.
other browser.
Is it broken?
He didn't use the other browser. It's over.
Oh,
Want to sign in?
Google can help.
Let's see what we're working with the blade variants. So, yeah, so they're like some glowy kind of.
I sent you a video, Kurt.
Dude, the energy went down so fast as soon as you looked at them, Wyatt.
What's the?
You were so excited, and then you took one look at them, and you were like, "Yeah, there's like some different colors."
What's the word to describe them? Not like
They're like zappy lightsabery things.
They're like
Tron swords.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of. Yeah, they're like Tron looking ass skins when they're glowing. You know, they're giving Magic the Gathering Kamigawa Neon Dynasty is what they're giving. There's a reference for anyone in the audience over 35. But they do look, you know.
I mean, it's just the RGX katana. It's just the same guy.
That's kind of similar too. It has the same like barrel shit. I don't know.
If we had
don't know gun
reviewed,
parts.
if we'd, you know the staff that turns into all of the other guns and stuff, and then there's like the Monkey King or something. What's it called in League of Legends? Now, one of the previous skin sets. Come on, you can't be leaving me out to drive like this. Wukong. There you go. There you go. That set, I was excited to skin review that, but then we never did it.
Oh yeah, did you buy it?
This set, no, I didn't buy it. No, I'm not going to buy any of them. I have no skins on my EU account. People keep coming in going, "Is this an alt account?" Like, no, God help me. I'm just poor.
Oh, dude, but that's how you stay rich. You have the stay rich mentality with that one. I like it.
It's actually a great way of making friends in ranked because people will always try and give you skins. They're like they treat you like, the guy that comes in with no packed lunch, and so you give them like a sandwich or something. That's what I feel like.
That's someone go first before me.
It's a skin. I mean, it's kind of cool. I feel like it's kind of just like overwhelming. It has crossover with skins that are already in the game. Drop.
Wow.
That is sad.
So sad. How much is it?
Yeah.
That's the first
Probably
question.
like $900.
Yeah,
I think it's 100.
It's a drop. It's a drop. Oh my
Isn't
god.
that more expensive than they used to be? Didn't they used to be like
reduce the
70?
skin prices, man. This is absurd. Like, stop. I'm sorry, but stop. It affects my job, but stop buying.
No, keep buying the skins. This is a clear cop. This is a clear cop. Contract negotiations are going on right now, and I'm asking for $500,000 after winning my big award. So make sure you buy the skins.
Christ. It's just, yeah, and I saw, now I happened to, I scrolled past these on the timeline because I saw Vanity post something like, I haven't bought a skin in a while, but this set has me ready to open my wallet and get my mom's credit card, or something like that. And then I looked at them and I just, they're just, listen, if one is on the ground in the game, will I pick it up and maybe drop my Vandal because it's cool and you get that different person's skin buff? Yes, I will. Will I spend $100 on it? I will not be doing that. It is a drop.
Are any of the skin bundles 100? That seems...
It was like the Elder Flame was, and those tier ones, right? Elder Flame... Elder Flame.
There's been a gas explosion at the Plat compound.
Yeah, we've actually rigged this place with dynamite. As soon as we leave, we're just gonna blow it up. But now, like, dude, what was I saying? What bullshit was I about to say?
Saying the Elder Flame kind of
the
stuff.
The Zed one was 100, I'm pretty sure. What else?
Dude, buying the Zed knife was the worst decision of my life.
You got the knife?
7,100
so
VP is
bad.
this one.
You've lived a great life.
$70 for this bundle.
The Zed
I have
one was
so many more
400,
regrets
actually.
than you.
Than the
If
Zed
you're-
knife?
Yeah, I go to bed crippled with regret, and you are living a happy life where the worst thing you've ever done is buy the Zed knife.
True. Real.
I can't sleep for the guilt.
Josh, you've had more time to make regrets than Mimi. Maybe she'll catch up when she's 32. Or
29.
Oh, right. Sorry, my bad.
Wait, you're 29, Josh? I thought you were 27.
Kidding. I knew you were 29.
What?
I used to be 27.
Yeah, I mean, you've just been frozen in time since I, met you when you were 27, so... Famously the same age. People don't age once you meet them. They stay the same age. Doesn't happen.
That's true.
I mean, relatively, yeah, it makes sense.
I think it's cool. There's been a lot of effort put into this skin, but it doesn't tickle my fancy.
Britain is a beautiful country.
Thank you, Mimi.
What?
All right, guys, let's do
it's a great
20
saying.
on
It's a
the
great saying.
benefits of living in England. Move on to that.
One of the few.
Well, that's it for. I'm glad we did a skin review. It's been a minute since we did one of those, and I really needed to. I needed to do that to uplift my mood. Speaking of uplifting, Gekko up, Skye down in patch 7.12. What's the latest with the game updates? Balla, can you break this down for me, because I didn't read this.
What Gekko up, Skye down. Like, what do you mean? Like,
Fine,
turn
I'll
up.
read it.
There you go.
One of Gekko's unique strengths is being able to reclaim his creatures. This change aims to make that process faster so you can reclaim them in more situations. In addition, we're also increasing the reliability of Dizzy to increase Gekko's confidence when using the ability and to provide more incentive for him to engage with its reclaim. So, the reclaim for Dizzy, Wingman, and Thrash, the reclaim channel time has gone from 2 seconds to 1 second. That's kind of crazy, I'm not going to lie. What? That seems kind of
that's pretty
crazy.
fast.
Anyone else think that's crazy? And then once the Dizzy is ready to shoot and sees a target, they will shoot faster and the projectile will travel faster? Dude, what? Pre-fire targeting, not the pre-fire targeting delay. It's been decreased from 0.5 seconds to 0.35 seconds. And the missile speed has been increased from 7,000 to 10,000 somethings. Dude, that's...
Miles per hour.
It's just no unit. What is that? I don't know. I don't
Meters
know.
per second.
Dude, this is okay. Hold up. This is busted. Who agrees?
I mean, yeah, there's a reason why Paper Rex is running Gekko this morning or whatever the fuck. Or
Was that on
yesterday.
the new patch?
I think it was.
Because I was looking at the Dizzy and they were getting so much value out of the Dizzy.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure whether that was because I assumed it wasn't because of a patch change because people normally don't play on the brand new patch just when it's released.
But usually that's like because they have access to like servers and stuff. I mean, maybe it's a LAN league, so it probably does. I'm probably speaking out my ass, but anyway.
But I thought that they were still getting a lot of value out of Dizzy, and I was thinking in my head, oh, it's going to be even better than this. Like people are actually going to be able to use Dizzy really effectively. But
maybe.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a little more difficult to like tell from an observer POV that the flashes are landing faster, but from the actual from the actual Gekko's POV, the fact that when you use your Dizzy, it's just going to so much more consistently blind people is going to be really, it's going to feel good to you. It's going to feel really much more impactful on your side. I think Wingman's not actually, I think Gekko's not actually in a bad place. I think that you could see some Gekko usage. On maps where people aren't using so much double controller anymore, if people are using double initiator and there's more opportunity for that on maps like Breeze or maps like Sunset, then you could definitely see some Gekko being played.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's just like eliminating pain points that existed with the agent. I feel like when you're, even outside of pro play, when you're just playing Gekko in ranked or something, like taking 19 eons to pick up your little friends was definitely the most like obnoxious part of being a Gekko player. And I feel like they, besides obviously Dizzy not working, I feel like that helps to fix this and will give him room. And also I feel like on the other side, the Skye changes, well, it's not something completely massive. It removes one of the biggest like abusable features of Trailblazer, of just being able to spam your mouse like crazy and get an entire site's worth of information with one dog. It makes you have to be a little bit more intentional, and it makes the nerfs to the to her HP, I think, a little bit more important at times, which might be a catalyst for some people choosing Gekko.
Why does the dog not still have near sight? Why does the dog travel so much further than every other piece of drone utility in the game? Why is Skye getting so much more info than every other character because the dog is so damn good? When they brought every other piece of drone utility in line, like they nerfed the length that the Boombot could go, and they nerfed the length that the Owl drone could go. They just didn't touch the Skye dog for some reason, and it's outrageously good compared to all of the others. That's why it's been meta for like a year. It's so much more powerful as a solo initiator than everything else because it's like a jack of all trades. And they're doing stuff like this to it, which is like, okay, yeah, this is a good change, but it doesn't address the core part of the kit of why it's incredibly useful compared to everything else, which is just that it's so versatile because you can get info miles away from yourself constantly.
Yep. It's always been that the dog can get so much information, and they're not even really nerfing the aspect. Like, it's still good. The dog is still good because what it's nerfing is like when you jump, you can't turn anymore, right? So you can't check 250-50 angles, which is fine, but you could still just not jump, and you could still check left, check right while you're running, and it's not going to move as fast, right? But
it also gets less consistent concusses now, because one of the things that you'd see people do is like jump right when they knew they were going to be impacting somebody and like turn it so that you would be able to get the stun, because you get the better stun if it lands on the like very face of the dog. You have to kick the dog in the head in order to get stunned, basally.
Yeah,
which is, weird.
It was so. I mean, it was literally exploding.
Abuse.
I don't know why they didn't like add like a visual cue, but to like show like with the thrash how they added that thing. But the dog was literally like a big radius that it stuns. It could stun like 4 people in a pack, and it was so busted. Like, people who were abusing that were really good, but in terms of the movement thing, like to me, it's just like a nerf to skill expression, which I don't like. I like the fact that the dog is getting nerfed. That's huge, and that's important because I don't think these sort of abilities like make the game super interesting, especially when there's one that's way broken. But I don't like the fact that instead of just like reducing the length, which is what they did to everything else, they are like nerfing people who are actually good with their dog, because there's a lot of people who at the pro level still don't do like good clears with their dog, and they don't get as much value. It's crazy the difference, even though it's like an easy thing to get good at. People don't do it, therefore like, why are we taking it away and making it so that everybody has the same like ability now, even though somebody had skill? That's what I don't like about the change.
I'm going to start an EU account, like a Smurf account, that is just troll only. And I'm just going to be running my Trailblazer into my teammates now that it can stun my teammates. I'm going to be playing Gekko and only detaining teammates. I'm just going to try and see how high I can get whilst using every piece of utility to either blind, stun, detain everything, everybody else that's playing with me. And we'll see whether people, to be honest with you, I think people are maxed out on their anger anyway in the EU ranked experience. I don't think they can get any more tilted than they currently are. So I don't think this will have an impact.
It's a good idea. Good content.
You know what
Can't
this
wait
is
for it on YouTube.
Have an impact on that. Now listen, I'm here to give the perspective of, listen, this is like a dork's dork podcast. I'm here to give you the perspective of the casual Valorant player. Me.
The common man.
Okay. My favorite game mode
Valorant.
is Team Deathmatch. I like hopping on Valorant and playing TDM for 30 minutes and then going and sitting on my recliner and watching the game. That's what I like to do with my evenings, okay? And dude, Gekko is about to be so annoying in TDM. I'm telling you that right now.
Oh, yeah.
Already in TDM, if there's a Gekko and he throws up a dizzy, no one shoots it. So, and then now it's up for an even shorter amount of time, and you're going to be able to just reclaim your utility over and over because it's 1 second. Gekko is going to be so obnoxious in TDM. But also in TDM news, they're adding a new map, which is sweet. I'm excited to play that. I love TDM. I played
against this Gekko in TDM the other day who was literally like just listening to people running around the corner and throwing his whatever util he had up, which is pretty much everything. And he was just throwing it when he heard them running around the corner and was just constantly getting tagged. And he was just surviving in a corner by himself the entire game. It was fucked up. It was genuinely the worst thing.
Yep. I like to play Skye and I just run around and heal my teammates.
Finally a good person out there in that cruel world.
Me, the TF2 medic. All right, let's keep it moving. Patiphan this
one
week.
thing, I just tried. My bad. I just tried the Skye dog, and it's not affecting when you just jump. It's only affecting when you bite. So like when you jump and then bite, that's where you can't move the camera. And it's clunky as fuck, but it's only like half a second. So I thought that it was like every time you jumped, you couldn't turn the camera. And I thought that was going to be fucked. But you can still check 50-50 angles. So this is even this isn't even an effective nerf.
I mean,
It's
this
not
is
even
just
effective.
Valorant getting closer to realism. I mean, the only person who can jump and look around left and right while they're in the air is Airbud from the hit film Airbud. And clearly Skye's dog isn't on the same level as the dog Airbud from the film Airbud. It's just a dog. It's not going to be able to jump.
What are you
it's not gonna be able to
talking
look
about?
around.
Please just run and jump forward and tell me you can't look to both sides.
You can't move your body. Do you
Yes,
understand
you
that
can.
dogs?
Yeah, you
Look at
can
dogs.
strafe.
Look at a dog. How much room does? Look at me. I can do this shit. I'm a fucking owl. Dogs can't do that. Dogs can't move their head more than like this much without adjusting their legs to
Okay,
fine.
you're
And
right.
when they're in the air, when Skye's dog is in the air, she's fucking doing 360s. That's not realism. That's not what I want in my game.
That's crazy.
Who the fuck is Airbud?
You don't have Airbud?
A national treasure, an icon, the NBA GOAT, the football champion, the winner of the NHL.
It's a dog from an advert.
No.
Have you been
Oh,
rolled
films.
by
No.
commercial?
Did you not
Oh,
listen to me?
films.
Airbud from the hit film Airbud.
It's a film about a dog that plays sports.
Films.
And
It's
he's
a
very
film
good
series.
at
A
it.
lot of them.
Oh, they made more than one.
Yeah,
And
there's
he's
a lot.
very
More
talented.
than one, yes. More like 10.
Y'all were missing out. Y'all were
Yeah,
missing
you know
out
how
on
we were
England.
talking about good things about living in England before? That's another one. Add
that's
another one to the
No.
list.
No, your
Airbud is a
childhood?
national
Add another one to
treasure.
the list.
That's,
No.
I'm
You're-
out, guys.
That's
This is
you had a
fucking
worse
bullshit.
childhood because you didn't witness Airbud. I'm telling you that right now.
Dude, you made Balla leave. The only person who I know who balls as hard as Balla is Airbud. It was the only other one. And now you are trying to get both of them off our podcast, Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. I don't know who would
up.
win a 3-point competition between Airbud and Ball. That would be a tight one.
Yo, Josh.
I would
Josh,
dominate a dog.
Shut
What?
the fuck up. Fuck you. Shut up.
Ball coming at us from the
Okay.
void.
It's just mic only.
Okay. Guys, Can we please talk about something serious now? Patiphan has announced his retirement.
Jarring tone shift.
So I'm going to what? So
Is that the
they have
ghost
nothing to
Josh
say
was
for
laughing.
themselves. Silence took over the pod.
Josh, why are you laughing at Patiphan's retirement?
I'm not laughing at Patiphan's retirement. I'm laughing at Mimi saying giant tone shift.
I said
immediately.
jarring.
Oh, jarring tone shift. The tonal dissonance was comedic, but it's not funny that Patiphan is retiring. It's
I'm
a tragedy.
laughing. This is like the 4th time, bro. Retire.
No, he's
my
he's
God.
12 years old, Bala. He's too young to get a normal job.
Bro, it's like, but this is like the 3rd time he's retired. You have to be real with it. This is like the 3rd time.
I mean, dude, ever since we talked, Josh, ever since you talked negatively about Airbud Ball, it changed. I just want to point that
Yeah.
out.
I mean, you
think that's
ruined my
true.
day. That's true, but I'm ruining Patty's day now. I think he has so much skill, man. It's really sad that he can't play because of the wrist or whatever. I think that's horrible. But bro, I think everybody kind of saw this like eventually coming.
I mean, it is tragic that the wrist injury presumably has led to some of this situation. Yeah, because he talks about having like a lost passion for the game. I feel like if the previous year he'd been, dominating or something like that, there's different ways in which his mentality would have been adjusted over the last year compared to being on a team that was losing and being the focus of criticism and not being able to find his real identity on the team, that kind of thing. But I also think he is still really young. He's obviously not 12 years old, but he is still a really young player, and there's still time for him to regain some kind of passion for the game or allow his wrist to heal and maybe get into a better spot as well. So I don't think, hopefully this isn't just his career completely over, but it probably feels like that to him at the moment.
I mean, I think the good thing is that it's a kind of a shitty situation that his injuries and stuff couldn't keep him from playing, or could keep him from playing. But as you guys were saying, he is 12. Like I looked it up. He's actually
Josh
he's actually
proved
20.
that he wasn't
I mean,
actually.
he's just
not
the age where
12.
he can just go to college right now and just like start his life. Like, it's not a point where he's like a 30-year-old esports pro having to find like a segue out. He's at the point where I think he's gotten some probably great life experiences from getting to
He
do
was
the
like,
esports things.
he was really good at Overwatch. Didn't he like literally win the
Yes.
shit? He was so good. He went to champs, like popped off. Everybody respects the shit
No,
out
but
of
that's
him.
what I'm saying.
had a
Like, he
great
did all
time,
that
like-
shit and he's still 20. And like, if this is the moment he retires, he still has like a whole life ahead of him to segue to whatever he's doing next. Is kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah, he could become an alleged foamer.
Famously. Josh knows what that means.
What? He actually is 12. This is crazy.
He
Yeah.
is 12, according to Liquidpedia. Josh was spreading misinformation. We've confirmed
Sorry,
it.
what?
What?
Kurt hit the fucking
No,
nattiest
Liquidpedia said-
spec
element.
element of all time.
This is the actual page.
You can see it on Liquidpedia.
This is not the actual
Look,
page.
go to this
is not-
website and you'll find
Refresh it.
Refresh it.
Oh, let me
refresh. Hold on, let me refresh real quick off screen.
Oh, I just refreshed it.
There we go. It's good now. It's refreshed.
God almighty.
Yeah, there's so many different career paths. He could become a foamer.
I mean, it says total earnings were $18,000. That'll get him like a semester of college in America. He's ready for his next career.
There's no
Yeah,
way his
he
winnings
should-
are $18,000.
That's
has to be more
invalid.
than
That's
that.
inval.
Kurt, pull up esportsearnings.com. Let's see how rich he is.
I mean, let's see what
Earnings
college he
check.
can afford to go to.
Dude, actually, talking about earnings check, did you see that the player code of conduct dropped? Okay, and it's a really boring document. People were like, oh, Sideshow, I hope you make a nerdy video about it. There's nothing nerdy in there at all. But one of the things that it says is players will be forbidden from making disparaging remarks about others based on all sorts of different normal things, about like, their sexuality, their race, their ethnic origin, all of that kind of stuff. And then it also says their financial status. So if you're typing earnings check in a game, that's against the code of conduct. So I'll have none of that, Bala. I'll have none of that. No earnings checks. No earnings checks.
Wait, this is literally built against Zoms, bro. The only motherfucker who go band for band with people in the scene. Like, this is crazy. Why, man? Let him flex.
Hold on. What was that number, Kurt, on esports earnings? Patiphan is $106,330.38.
That's not bad.
No, that's not. That's not bad at all. Let's pull up Ball's esports earnings.
Fuck.
What?
Oh, it's not even on there, man. You didn't even make the cut.
That's tough.
Wait, no, what are you talking about? I'm there. Chill,
There
chill. Yeah, fuck out of here.
5.2.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's missing my Valor earnings too. I got 200 in Val. Let's go. 5.4.
Let's go.
Come on, man.
That's good.
Step up.
Christ.
Let's look up fucking yeah. Let's see what this motherfucker.
Getting roasted for playing the poverty game of TF2. Getting roasted for playing
Let's
the
be honest,
poverty game.
$683 is
got
the
both
world
of them
championship
beat.
in TF2.
Oh shit.
MA3LA. Dude, I think I got both of you fuckers beat.
Don't care.
What? It has to be
no
there.
way.
It's got to be there somewhere. Really?
So add
It's
my
probably a
1.6
different
earnings in.
name.
Huh?
Did they
Put
change
3
it?
T's in there, bro.
Dude, that's crazy.
You've been
Where is
removed.
he?
You've been wiped from the database.
Esports earning
There's
Wyatt
no
River.
way. There's no way.
I got you. No, I got you. Yeah,
What's
you got
his-
me beat.
What's he under?
It's Wyatt River Mela. You have to just search it on Google. I just linked it.
Wyatt River Mailer. What a
That's
what
his
a weird
full
way
legal
to
There's a
name.
lot
put in
going
there.
on here. I just need to show. Josh said that TF2 is a poverty game. Watch this.
Yeah.
Boom. That's 6.58. Come on now.
Sorry, I should have clarified. TF2 in Europe was a poverty game. You at least had ESEA.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right. I'm glad we turned this Patiphan topic into a us topic.
But in conclusion, if he earned 100,000, he can get like 3 years of tuition to like fucking Temple University. He's good to go. He's got a whole life ahead of him.
3 years? No. No. Maybe 1.
No, 3 years. It's
Wow.
if he can get
Temple
Pennsylvania
University.
residency, which
Yeah,
I believe in him.
There you go.
I
There
believe
you
in him.
go.
Um,
Out of state.
I'm trying to find out what the Temple University tuition is. But in the meantime,
30K.
Oh, okay. Let's listen.
All right, so yeah, 3 years. All right. Mimi
Not
knows
bad,
the
not
fuck she's
bad.
talking about.
Mimi knows what's up. Mimi knows about the education system.
Yeah,
All
I've
right,
thought
guys.
about what'll happen when Esports Winters comes to me.
Back to clown college.
Mimi, you'll be fine. You're an award winner.
I gotta
Me
earn
though?
my red nose again.
All right. Let's talk more. You guys said Josh was mad because we weren't talking about Valorant. Oh, too much fun. You guys are being too fun, having too much whimsy. All right. Let's talk about the Game Changers Championship, the big tournament of the week. Shopify Rebellion, aka version 1, aka XC9 White. Because I'm saying all that because they got signed by Shopify 2 hours before the tournament started. They won. They lived up to the hype. They did not falter at LAN like they did last year. They take down the tournament, winning 4 games in a row, undefeated. Some close games, though, for sure, on the way, but undefeated nonetheless. Mel and Alexis, who were due for a championship at some time in Game Changers, lock it down, and, surrounded by 3 talented young stars. Great showing. Josh, what were you going to say?
It's actually incredible advertising as well for Shopify Rebellion because they're really just showcasing what you could do with your last-minute Christmas shopping. They just waited until the final moment and just bought the last-minute gift that just kept giving. They just ran it all the way through. Like, yes, this team has always been representing Shopify Rebellion.
yes.
Of course.
I feel like
I loved how some of the Twitter stuff was just like including it. this Shopify with last year's Shopify stuff. They were like, Shopify took second last year, and here they go with the win. I'm like, what are you talking about?
It's so funny. Truly a history of greatness from Shopify Rebellion. I feel like the best way to summarize this tournament is if you just pull up VLR and you click the stats page of this event, and then you'll see that 4 of the top 5 players of the event were on Shopify Rebellion.
That's not bad.
They're very good at the video game. I know VLR rating isn't like the realest thing ever, but
No, it is. We need to cut Noya.
oh, sorry.
That's
Noya is
what-
off the team. We're signing Alexi. Congratulations on your transfer to Shopify Rebellion. We've got a new team, baby. But yeah, I mean, Shopify was incredible throughout this whole tournament. I mean, they pretty much rolled through uncontested until they made it to G2. They pretty much just destroyed EDG and BBL, and then they made it to G2, and credit to G2. I think they pushed them a little bit, but I feel like the biggest difference between this Shopify and like last year's Cloud9 was watching them this tournament kind of reminded me of like watching Fnatic before they had lifted a trophy. Like, you know, they should be winning these tournaments, but you're waiting for the moment where they're gonna choke. But it didn't happen this time. They managed to like maintain their performance all the way through. I think Mel is an IGL. Really continued to prove herself here. Obviously, people already knew that she's ludicrously good, but the adaptation throughout this tournament, which in my opinion and for my money had way higher level of competition compared to last year, was really excellent. Like, I think G2 and Liquid in particular both had, Liquid especially, but we'll talk about them later, had really great tournaments. And her ability to adapt throughout as a leader was really, really great. And also just the individual players on this roster. Like, they came in with 3 new-ish young stars who had never been to like a big event like this before. And every single one of them just crushed the debut. I mean, Floor, of course, is like the story of the moment because she's just proving to be the GOAT of the Game Changer scene. But even for Sarah and Noya, both of them had series where they just like took over as individuals. It is really like the cliche, oh, this is a super team, all their players are really good. But I mean, they just showed that.
Yeah, it was insane. I mean, it was actually, you're 100% right. I think Floor had some maps where it took her a little while to get started. And it needed Noya, for example, to save them. Even in some of those stomps, it was like, it was some of these players coming up huge. Sarah and Noya in particular were really, really good early on and against G2 too, to bring them up into that series. But to credit Mel, I mean, that grand finals was tough. That was not an easy series at all. It was a full best of 5. And I think, just thinking about the fact that she had COVID, found out the night before that she had COVID and had to play in isolation, and then playing an entire full best of 5 with full-blown COVID, like full symptoms and everything, by yourself, barely any support, like with water and all that shit, snacks, all that stuff that you need throughout an entire series like that. Just being able to IGL is crazy. A lot of times you have like, you know, some like a duelist or something like that, Ospa's having COVID or something like that, playing in isolation. But it's never in a grand finals, and you're never IGLing at the same time. That shit drains you. Like, from experience, you get really tired. And with COVID on top of that, that's insane that she's able to pull something like this out in a full 5-map series, multiple overtimes too. It's insane.
Yeah, I asked her about it, and she described it to me as, quote, that shit was agony, would not wish it on my worst enemy, referring to having to IGL in a room alone. But, I mean, it's truly ridiculous, because you also have to remember that Mel is, like, the heart of this team. Like, her and Lexi have been building, they've been together for 3 years as a duo, have been building this team, and not to constantly harp on like the young new player narrative, but everyone else on this team except those two, this is a completely new scenario. They haven't been to a big LAN like this before. The pressure to perform, especially for like Floor, is ridiculously high because expectations were through the roof, and Mel is normally a super vocal, extremely proactive IGL that adds so much to this team, not just as like a leader in the server, but also just as a mentor to her players. They constantly talk about how like they're fully bought into her system and how like she's like the reason that the level of performance that has been gotten out of these players has been achieved consistently, and then she's just not here for like the biggest match of your life, and she's stuck in another room and you can't celebrate, and they still go out and win it in a really hard series, in the closest series they played the entire tournament, going all the way to 5 maps, is impressive. But yeah, I mean, it's just heartbreaking too, to not get to see her lift the trophy with her team. Because this has been like the thing she has been working at for so long to get to this moment where she could lift that trophy that she earned, that she did so much work for. Like Nella's one of the most careful people I know about COVID. Like every event I've worked with her at, it's like always wearing a mask, always super cautious and courteous about that stuff. Like knows the risks, and it's just shit happens sometimes. But as sad as it is that she didn't get to lift the trophy with her team, that she's still kind of stuck in Brazil alone at this point. She still, despite all that against her, pushed through, played an incredible series, and like earned the fuck out of that trophy.
She's still stuck in Brazil?
Yeah. Yeah, she's still there.
That's booming.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. After working all year with your team to achieve this, not getting to go out and celebrate, sitting in a room alone while you watch on a computer monitor your team lift the trophy. Like it's unbelievably hard, and obviously like it's got to be very very mixed emotions because it's like the biggest achievement, but it's also not with your team. But yeah, I hope she's doing okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to say, I feel like one of the big things that I took away from this tournament as well was that the teams had done such a great job of adapting to a more aggressive play style that was being brought by the teams like Team Liquid and SMG. The final showed multiple times where Shopify were dealing really nicely with Team Liquid, running at them with so much confidence, just overwhelming confidence in some moments. And Shopify were still managing to hold themselves, keep the composure in those situations. It was very impressive.
Yeah, this whole run is what they've done this year is also, it's a testament to a fantastic formula for building a winning roster, which is taking the experienced veteran players that can provide the foundation, the support structure, and surrounding them with the upcoming talent that they can make into amazing players. Because, of course, on other teams in different situations, like, yes, Noya, Sarah, and, Floor will all be great players. But when you have Alexis, who's just, like probably the best support player in GC, like just going to take everything to the next level, and with the most experienced IGL, the best supporting player, like all these, the other three just have an opportunity to look amazing. And also that is pressure too, because they're the ones being set up to perform at their first big event, and they all just crushed it, which is, it's just awesome to see the long years of effort and this roster coming together, all of it pay off in the biggest tournament. It was very cool.
Yeah, I mean, speaking about the formula too, like I think we've seen a couple times now too, like especially just new Valorant talent, like talent that just starts in Valorant. Floor specifically is one of those who I think started in Iron, like when the game started in Iron, grinded up to Radiant, and like ends up playing with Misfits last year when she finally turned age to play. But like competitive experience is not something that he was drawing off of, right? And so being able to mold a player like that right away with top tier coaching, with top tier veteran presence is something that a lot of other players don't get that option to go through. And because of that, they build a lot of bad habits by playing through like the amateur circuit and playing through with a bunch of teams that don't have that same level of pedigree behind them. And because of that, you instantly are being drilled with the best fundamentals, the best teamwork, the best sort of stuff, the strat structure, all that stuff. You have that right at the beginning. It makes your ceiling way higher. And I think you're seeing that with Floor in particular, with Sarah in particular as well. Like they are insane. Like some of the cleanest aim I think I've seen in Valorant, honestly. Like it's so clean compared to like other top players from the main VCT circuit. Like it looks the same sometimes. Like it really does, if not better sometimes.
I mean, that's what they've said too, is that they've scrimmed against some top level teams and they've still like been extremely successful in terms of their individual fragging and against top teams at times. Like, I'd
I mean,
love to see.
that's like the whole idea that like they don't scrim other Game Changers teams really. Like their whole thing is they want to be scrimming tier 2, want to be scrimming tier 1. You look at like the VLR record for the team. They're playing far more like third party. One of like every event they can get their hands on North America. They're playing. And I know I really hope they get invited. That would be cool. But like. I think this is just to reiterate it because we always have to talk about it every time they win a tournament. But like this team's whole ethos is like we don't want to be the best Game Changers team. We want to be the best team. We want to perform well in the mix scene. We want to perform well in co-ed, and that's the priority. Which I think is how you can just show up to a tournament like this and dominate, realizing that it's not the final thing. Lifting this trophy is not the biggest achievement this team will get. It's a step in a road towards something more, which I think is like the direction we've been like, please, we need a team in Game Changers who can do this. And Shopify is just that team.
Yeah. To be fair, like the Team Liquid is the same way. Like they all,
for sure,
almost every top Game Changers team like believes in that same ethos at this point too. Like, and it's something that they've started talking about, they've started doing. But I do want to like bring back. You mentioned like the comparison against to Fnatic too. Like when you're talking about how selective they are with their scrims and stuff like that, that's something that Fnatic is incredibly selective with who they scrim. To the point of like trying to hide strats from specific people, and that's obvious. That's something that everybody does, but also just like trying to get the most quality practice out of anything that you could possibly do. And I think Shopify doing that too is like super, super important to the development of a team like this. And I completely agree. I like, especially watching some of the, I'm kind of like moving away from the championship right now, but like watching some of those games against the tier 2 teams that they play, like a lot of people just write them off, but like a lot of those games are close. Like people don't understand, like those games are close. And if it was a couple more rounds, sometimes you'd be seeing that shit be flipped sometimes. Like actually, and these are really, really good teams sometimes, teams that are in challengers. Like I totally think they have the skill to be able to make it into challengers. And maybe people think this is still a hot take, but
it's also about doing it consistently though, right?
Exactly.
Like
that's the point. But like they could easily come out with a one-off win against one of these teams. And I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. Like it's
that makes me think that there's a bit of a mental block still there, but when you get mental blocks like that, often it only takes like a couple of wins and then you break through and then like you're in a much better place. Yeah, exactly. I could definitely see that being the case, and I think that you should look to a team like Shopify after they've just done their own mental block break, like winning a tournament.
No motherfucking team that is a Game Changers team has ever done it. Like, of course there's like, I'm not trying to call you out or anything like that, but like there's a huge mental block for any team trying to do this, and it's going to be hard regardless of if the skill is actually there. It's just going to be hard to be able to do that.
But the top 4 in this tournament as well, you mentioned it earlier, Mimi, about it being much more competitive than last year, but all of the top 4 teams I found to be impressive. I think SMG looked, to bring this back to your hot take, actually, Wyatt, from last time, they looked good. When they were playing, I was like, oh shit, Wyatt's done it again. He's found another team that's insane. But they just didn't quite have the coordination and the ideas and that kind of stuff. But they had like that micro play, and they had the skill, and they had the aggression, but it just looked unrefined to a point where they weren't going to be able to make it deeper. But that is a team to keep an eye on for sure.
I mean, we already saw improvement throughout the event. They went from Bye, Wyatt. They went from not knowing which comp to lock to figuring out how to lock the right comp and win.
To lock. That's horrendous shade to throw at them.
I'm kidding. But I mean, I don't think we've talked about that on the podcast before. But the fucking run for this team starts with them thinking it's a tech test, selecting 4 duelists. They're duelist players on Cypher. Giga Chad, they fucking roll EG with the comp. And they just play it anyway. It's so sick.
They looked scary after that, too.
I loved watching them. I was so gutted that they lost to G2. That was so winnable on Split. Oh, my God. I mean, it just comes down to a couple rounds. Like, if they just don't lose a 1v4 to Roxy at the end of the first half, like, that is, they only need one. I went to OT. They only need one round to, push that over the edge and win 2-0 over G2. They had so many opportunities. I mean, Roxy went so crazy in this game on Split. The anchoring was so good, just constantly getting 2 kills
could have
when they
easily
hit
died to the Viper op there that was just egoing the Cypher ult, holding the same angle. Like, you don't expect the Viper to still be there with the operator. But
these were the
missed shot.
situations that were just sadly had SMG lose out on this map. I mean, that is like the most clear example of it, but there were just a lot of little moments where they had an advantage, but then just couldn't swing for each other in the optimal way. And, you know, Roxy was just taking advantage of that. And they also, I mean, it was just, I'm super happy for SMG. It was a great run. It was just also gutting because it was like, holy shit, they were so close to being even a better run with even more wins. But they were awesome to watch. They did a great job, and it'll be fun to continue watching them in the future.
And you've got top teams from all over the place. Again, the same as the main tier 1 VCT circuit. I mean, it's incredible, the kind of parity between the regions.
4 different continents. Again, like every single event since 2021 champs.
It's rigged. It's actually rigged. I mean, this, if anything, should clue you into the fact that life is a simulation. It's rigged. None of this is real competition. It's all been set up.
Scripted.
We've been paid. This is a rare moment of us peeling back the curtain, and I'm about to get whisked off into another room.
Yep. The pipe bomb.
Go ahead, Wyatt.
I can't. What? It's a fucking wrestling reference. I can't help myself anymore. I'm sorry. Go on.
But moving on from pipe bombs, how about Team Liquid? Talk about fucking scripted. They lose in the first round in front of their home crowd, and then go on like the craziest lower bracket run ever. They win every single match to make it to the finals, and they only lose out literally on the second half of map 5 to not pick up the trophy in front of their fucking crowd. Like, they played so well throughout that lower bracket. To talk about like the level up of individual players, Jajina had like I didn't really know much about her because to kind of review for people who haven't watched Game Changers since last year, Team Liquid was a pretty much complete rebuild. All they kept was their coach and then like the duo of Daiki, their IGL, and Bastarda, the duelist player. Everyone else was like new talent from like the Brazilian Game Changer scene that they brought up. And basically it's a direct parallel to Shopify, right? Where it's the veteran core, you bring in new players, you develop them up, and holy, did the product look good. Georgina was insanely clutch.
Just the product. Oh my god.
Sorry. I
has to go to the
love
quarterly
business.
report meeting after this. Jesus Christ. Go on, Amy.
100% pure.
I don't even remember what I was saying. But we saw some the KPIs, they were being hit, let me tell you. Issa, Georgina, Bizera, all were like giga impactful throughout the tournament. I think Team Liquid's style was really variable. They're like a very fast team that is like super aggressive. They'll like fight both extremities at once and just like pressure you until you kind of force them to respect you. Almost remind me of like a Paper Rex or something in that way, of just like how aggressive they are to start as they feel out your team. But their IGL Dougie is really good at just like stopping the team in the mid round, just like calling those freezes where you go really aggressive for space and then you stop, you wait for a reclear, and they were punishing teams like crazy with that. Because it's the kind of team where you always feel like they're going to be doing something, they're going to be overheating, and then they just freeze, they punish you, and then the next adaptation comes through. Yeah. Also, just some of the mid-rounding. Like, I think, like, their later games, like, I think it was the Ascent against SMG in particular that was ludicrously well called from Daiki. Like, she was like solo selling fakes on the attacking side to like call her team into the other site and stuff. Really, really good stuff. Like, Daiki is only 19 years old. Like, last year was her first time kind of like ever IGLing for a team, and she did that. Now, new roster, complete rebuild, lots of pressure on her, and just steps up and does even better this year.
You want a parallel, Mimi?
You want a parallel?
NRG.
Yes.
I was because they're Brazilian. I was like, oh, it's loud. Issa's like less. Like I kept doing that shit. Which, by the way, she's a really, really good player to find like lurk timings and stuff like that. Insanely good. But I think the way that Daiki is calling was much more like finesse to me than any of the other IGLs in Game Changers and any IGL that I could think of too. Because she was doing like you said on Haven specifically, like solo inserting herself for massive fakes and stuff like that. They had the best mid rounding. Maybe it was like Team Liquid, G2, and then Shopify in terms of like mid rounds like prowess. Shopify doesn't need to rely on mid rounding most of the time, but like Team Liquid was insanely good. Even in that first series where they were like, yeah, we were bad today. I was like, bro, this team is good. Like, and Regina is insane. The amount of value and clutches that she was hitting throughout the tournament is crazy. And it never lowered itself because they were playing against better competition. She just kept stepping up and up and up, and it was crazy.
This is a wild play as well. That first shot has to be a headshot. It's on the like full health player. The Cosmic Divide misses. It's on like the other side, and then they go for the tap, push through the wall, and get the kill. What a ridiculous one to win.
Yeah. Insane aim. Like the same thing. I think maybe you hit it perfectly. Like it's a direct parallel to Shopify in terms of the skill of this team. And I think they also got, like, despite the fact that some, like the rest of the game changer scene in Brazil was like kind of starting to be a little bit more competitive against them. Like I think they got better throughout the year. Obviously when you're integrating 3 new players like that, but something I do want to mention, I think I completely agree with you guys in terms of like how the level of play at this tournament was better than last year. But I actually think that the form, especially in some of the earlier rounds, and down in the lower bracket, was not as high as it could be. I think this could have been even better than we were thinking. I think some of these rounds were very scrappy because the teams just, I don't know why, but I think it was like super, super scrappy, and it led to some of those moments where you had to see insane good mid-rounding. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
Fucking bananas. This was ridiculous. This is the round on Ascent for the audio listeners at home. It was in like what was it just saying? There was like a 5v2. Gina recovers a sheriff. They're on an eco, had a classic. Gets 2 headshots. They retake the site 2v3, gets 2 more sheriff headshots. And then they're sticking the spike and are able to get the defuse before the Shopify Rebellion players can swing on it. That was just this round's fucking.
It was so sad though because like ridiculous. One of the few, like I think the first 2 rounds they got were just because they stuck the defuse in moments where it was like crazy insane shots, but like they just were able to stick the defuse against Alexis. And I was like, it's 6-2, and those are the only 2 rounds. It's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. It was cool to see Liquid run it back, though, in front of the home crowd as well. And I feel, at least for me, I feel like
by the way.
They really stepped it up at this event. Because I just wasn't blown away watching them online. And maybe it's one of those situations where they feel like they can kind of just cakewalk their way to the finals. Not that Loud didn't put up a fight against them in the regional grand finals, but even still, it was a relatively easy victory. So maybe it's one of those situations for me, but goddamn, they went crazy in the lower bracket and stepped it up. So it was cool that they made it that deep in front of the home crowd.
I will say, I think this is proof that, like, I feel like when we don't cover a lot of game changers on the show, and when we do, it's like NA and occasionally EMEA, but the GC scene in Brazil is actually doing really well. Like, one of you mentioned this earlier, but the competition has grown a lot. Watching some of TL's domestic stuff this year, they were losing series. They were getting pushed a lot more.
Against like, 2 teams, right? Like,
yeah, it wasn't just Loud. It was Loud, 0-0 Nation, and Legacy. They lost to all those teams in really close affairs. Like, I think also the rebuild this year, having 3 new players, shows that, like, the level of talent in Brazil and the GC scene goes really deep, too. And it just really makes me wish we had more international competition for this scene and more opportunity for these Brazilian teams to like play against teams like Shopify and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to see more because I enjoy these tournaments so much. I don't know why I get like incredibly invested. Maybe it's because I like don't end up like working on them or whatever. But like I get in. Like I was watching the entire week. It was basically the only thing I was doing, But I think part of that is because we only get this one international tournament. Like, I was attached to G2. Like, I wanted them to go far. It was insane because I think a lot of people were doubting them, and I really fucked with the like rule swaps that they did the entire. Yeah, I guess so. But like, they had such a good understanding of everything, and they're just so likable on stage the entire time. It's easy to get invested, but I don't know. Like, I kind of feel like one international tournament makes it that way for me, and maybe I want like less of the like regional stuff so that they get more time to just play and everything else.
I mean, I would just like to see like more. I guess what I mean. I would like to see like game changers teams like Shopify in more of like the off. Like we have all these like little one-off like regional like lands and stuff. I think having like game changers teams in that would be so cool in the off season and stuff. But I agree with you. I don't think there should be another big. Oh, sorry, Bala.
No, I was just pointing out the Red Bull thing for G2.
Oh yeah. I mean, that didn't go super well for G2, but
but they, I mean, it's unfair to them because they're playing like a tournament right before their main tournament, so like they can't really go balls to the walls and like play hard for that tournament. Like it's impossible.
Yeah. But I also was gonna say that I think where this tournament is positioned in the year is really important for getting that investment, because it's like a month into the off season, nothing is going on besides like random ass like one-off events, so it like really has its moment to shine, which I think is really good.
Yeah, definitely.
What was the viewership, out of curiosity? Is that something you pull up?
New peak, but not like
or something?
Too much higher than last year.
Yeah, I mean that's still that is still just outrageously good viewership, which is fantastic. There's just so many more people interested in this now. Oh, nearly 300K. Yeah, that's pretty. That is pretty sick.
Oh.
That is really good. That is really, really good. Damn. Yeah, peak 293,993 during the finals.
With average viewers of over 120K. I mean, that is very solid. That's like if you just ran that as an entire esport, that would be a very solid tier 2 esport.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Those are some wild numbers. That is awesome to see. Speaking about some of the other teams, let's talk about the EU teams. Once again, we underrate G2. That's the standard. The standard going into every Game Changers tournament is that we're going to underrate G2. And then they step up and make it to the lower final with their new roster with 3 different players. Kurt was telling me about this wild stat where it's like Petra had only used the AWP one time before this tournament, so her AWP purchase rate went up by like 54,000% or something out of this tournament, which is so funny. And yeah, they switched all the roles, so Petra was playing duelist and she was playing extremely well. Yeah, that seemed to turn around the ship with G2. All right, Josh is gone. Goodbye, Wilkinson. Okay, Josh is back. Welcome back, Wilkinson.
I'm back. My internet's going crazy at the moment.
Balla, do you want to speak about us underrating G2 again?
This year I think was a little warranted. Like I think you have to rate the experience highly, and I think we tried to do that. But at the end of the day, like they had a rough year. Like it wasn't as clean going into that, and they lost to teams that honestly were much weaker and completely unknown in comparison to like Team Liquid Brazil. Like some of those teams were definitely starting to build up and become good, but the G2 Gozen run in this year was just it was flat, and they had to. The thing is, they had to deal with like really tough circumstances in replacing their star player and actually replacing 2 of their star players, one of which is probably the MVP of all women's CS like before this like ever. So yeah, Giuliano at the beginning of the year that's a tough thing to replace, especially for Mimi and Petra, who played with her for so long. So yeah, I mean, I think the expectations coming to this were warranted, but
what were the expectations? Where did
fourth,
you rate?
fifth? Like I think people were rating them slightly lower than BBL and like slightly higher than SMG type of thing. So it wasn't like completely off.
That's not super off.
No. I think it just, they're overperforming. I don't know. It's not even really an overperformance, to be honest. I just think the expectations were fair this year compared to last year, which was just total bullshit coming out of our mouths.
Yeah, the LAN and the big games may be favoring them as well with that experience.
They have a LAN buff. That's not like, it's 100%. I think all like 4 out of 5 of these players, I would say, play better on LAN for sure. Mimi, Roxy, Petra, like they all are so experienced, and they played at, I mean, Roxy maybe not so many, but the first or the other 2 are insane. And I think Mimi as well, coming up to IGL, which was a new change as well. She wasn't doing that prior to this event. She comes in and match like almost matches Daiki, like almost, not quite, but especially in that first series, I was like, dude, this is her first time IGLing. Is insane the amount of timing she's finding, and it's funny because they did it on the same role too. Like the Skye was very interesting to watch make plays like that. It's
a great finals for Vansili and Potter to be casting as well.
True.
I mean, like, what a banger of a match. The way in which it all went down is truly spectacular final.
Good game.
It started
Very
with an
good game.
overtime, like, yeah.
Wyatt's gone, so we can't move on to the next topic. So
we can't do it.
It's actually illegal.
We gotta
This is
keep
awful.
talking about this, guys.
Well, we could talk about the other teams real quick.
right.
The, like, just
Who?
the COVID taking out BBL. Like,
Oh yeah, one by one, like
Yeah,
holy
one
shit,
by one,
like, they just got
BBL.
I mean,
rocked.
their final elimination match, one player being on stage alone.
yeah,
it
that's
was
It's
so
so sad.
sad.
Oh, you're talking about-
tragic.
yeah, BBL. Yeah, I'm crushed for them as well. I mean, they just didn't get to show how good they actually are, and that's real. I don't know. That's all you can say about it. It sucks.
Yep.
The
I think
walkout was just. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I think that the Turkish scene in general is like kind of struggling from. I think it's, to me, obviously COVID had a big issue like for this team. Like they start off without having their duelist player, which is unfortunate. But they still come out with a win over, who was it, Crew, I guess, in their opening match, or I don't remember who it was. And I think like the way that it progressed was just like them being unexperienced, them not having the energy that they need, and then maybe like setting expectations a little too high for themselves to start out an event like this, because it felt a lot like some of Foot's appearances, to draw parallels to the main circuit, like just low energy in some cases and heads down type of thing. And it's easy to have that happen when everybody gets COVID at the end of the day, but some of their early matches too, I think, show that same thing.
Yeah, very unfortunate. And then we can round it out, talk about the remaining teams. EG, unfortunately, going out quite early as well. Obviously, the pre-tournament issues that came up for the other players on the team, that just sucks for them to have to deal with and pick up the pieces before this tournament begins. But yeah, sadly, they go out early. What are your thoughts on EG after this tournament?
I mean, what they got rolled in that first game against 4 duelists. I'm impressed the fact that they're able to like actually play after that, as I think I would have blown up the team. You already know the org is blown up at that. Like honestly, if I was IGL in that, I'm sorry, but like
You would have just
sorry,
forfeited out
disbanded.
I'm
too.
just like I would just not played, man. I would have pulled a yay. Like fuck that shit. Like what are we doing here? Like this is so demoralizing. So I was very impressed. I will not lie. Like I was shocked by how much an impact like Kinsey had on the team. And it's not surprising, but I just didn't expect it to be that significant. And it wasn't actually when it came down to it. But unfortunately, losing that first round and having to play Team Liquid is just, even if like Team Liquid beat Gozen, like they would have had to play against G2. Like that's just tough. That's a tough draw. Like you have to win that first game, and they get rolled. So
Yep, it is unfortunate, but I mean, still, the team has super talented players. They're put in a shitty spot before the tournament and did the best that they could. But
Which team does?
Huh? EG.
Which OEG have really talented players.
Yeah, they still have some players that I definitely rate super high. I think Starbound is fantastic.
Harpixel is fantastic.
Harpixel is a great support player.
Lori is now
Yeah.
proven multiple teams. Like
Yeah, they
100%.
still have some great players. I'd like to see the core of them stick together and figure out what to do next year. Because at the end of the day, they still went on a sick run in NA. They beat version 1 Shopify in the finals, and that core of the team is still excellent.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's great for EG that they have such excellent assets like contractually on their roster. That's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, EG is just, as an organization, they've done so well this year. I mean, like, so many trophies under their belt. I bet the org is doing great.
The org must be doing fantastic. I mean, they have such they won awards at the Esports Awards for Demon.
Look at the Cryon.
What?
What?
Oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah, that sucks.
I mean, guys, like, is anybody surprised?
Nope.
Is anybody surprised? Thank you. That's actually such a good tweet. And Screwface, I didn't see this. Screwface still in contract jail, by the way.
For the audio listeners, Kermit the Frog has died.
We don't know that. We don't know that. Kermit might
He
be
could just be
farming.
having a fun time, a
Kermit.
great night out with his friends.
God. Yeah, that is yep. We're departing and celebrating our time with the EG Game Changers roster. And we're excited to see what you accomplish next.
The two
I have so much
employees at
respect.
EG are just cracking a cold
Yeah.
one while they post this tweet. We're celebrating, guys. Yeah.
The last salaries are off the books. Way! I'm a tinny. I mean, I have a lot of respect for people who write these and don't just write
the
something
team.
horrendously unprofessional when they know that the entire brand is like looking to exit esports according to every report. I just the addiction to trolling would have me doing all sorts of things out there.
Oh God. And then also, Crew, they managed to get their first win at an international event, which was a nice result for them. Conair kind of went stupid crazy, which is what we expected last time, and then definitely came to fruition this time, which was pretty sick. And then EDG as well, they obviously had, I mean, that's sadly another team with a really shitty situation coming into it. Their star duelist unable to play because of having to have heart surgery previous to previous during to the event. But yeah, that is obviously huge well wishes there, and hope everything goes well. And for the rest of the team, it's obviously an unfortunate situation to be in, but also, at least, which player was this that did the faker roll and then Mel Pog? That's such a good clip.
I think that was
this is
Clem.
Clem, right? Clem.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I didn't see
Oh, no, it
this.
was
The
Wally.
Mel Pog is such a good emote.
That is-
Take it back frame by frame. I want to see the Mel Pog.
No, it was Clem.
Hold up. Yep, that's. Listen,
Dude,
you
great
already know that's
storytelling
on
there.
7
Who's the
TV.
director? That shit is fire.
That is good.
Yeah, the cuts there are very funny. But, obviously, well wishes to EDG, and, hopefully they can just get back, keep practicing, continue on their journey, take the experience from this, their first international event, and, go from there. And hopefully we'll see more of them in the future, and hopefully there'll be
you
more
have to remember,
international events to
EDG,
come.
like the Chinese scene, game changer scene, literally just started. Like it just started. So yeah, give them some time.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, one of the points that you were making earlier, Josh, that was also something we were talking about a ton during the online North American Game Changers broadcast is that, like, there's such a wide, or rather, just the amount of teams that are displaying a high level of play is increasing. And that was something we were talking about a lot on the Game Changers NA online broadcast too, because in stage 2 it was like, holy shit, Complexity, they just went on this deep run. Lace, who was like, also in kind of that upcoming player category, I think she's like 16 or 17, and she was amazing in stage 2, like incredible. And then in stage 3, obviously EG, they make the run. They actually win the tournament. The Disguise team that was full of players that no one had really been familiar with, no one had really heard of, they went on a sick run in stage 2. They still made it to playoffs in stage 3, lost in like crazy OT games. There's just so many upcoming players and talent that are coming up in the Game Changers scene at this point after it being around for a couple of years. And as we kind of pivot into the next topic here, which is, sort of the more of the serious discussion at hand, that unfortunately we still exist in a time where these events are always polluted by unsavory figures and very poor discussion online that is just extremely that lacks any conscious thought about the Game Changer scene, why it needs to exist, how we've gotten to this place where it needs to exist over the last 2 decades of esports being a thing, why it's important. And you can see it paying off with all these teams getting better, more teams participating in the wider scene, more teams at the top of the GC scene, all this young talent upcoming, because it's still, we're in a state with this scene where, I remember, Mimi, when we were on the desk with Potter, I wish I could remember what player she was talking about. Maybe it was Athena, but Potter had told us that it was, I think it was Athena, that when Potter was competing in CSGO, she was like 12 years old or something.
Thea.
And
it was Thea.
Thea, and came up to Potter to get her mouse pad autographed. And, that's... So my point here is kind of going back to looking at the real OGs of women's esports competition like Potter, and the people that are from her generation that they inspired to then begin competing as women in the gaming space where they were not welcome. Those were the figures that inspired them. And now we're at a point where there's someone like Mel, who is super driven to compete in the wider scene. Even if she can't make it to the top, Mel has inspired the next 50 excellent players that are, 12, 13, 14 years old, that years from now are going to be competing and will probably pass her and be better than her, because we're still in this stage of needing to support these leagues and initiatives, because there's so much catching up to do because of how the space was so and is so unwelcoming to women and other minorities. And one of the reasons that trans players, NB players have found success in Game Changers is because they were accepted from day one. And looking at the wider scene in existing in this space where women and minorities are still not widely accepted, are still, you speak on a mic and you're getting harassed immediately, not in that welcoming space. It's tough to compete there, and that's always been the case. I remember this one clip. Sorry, I'm going on a rambling rant here, but
Pop off.
I remember this one clip that was from Hafu when she was competing in Warcraft, and she told a story about how at an official Blizzard event, I want to say it was early 2010, something around that time, that one of the teams that she was competing against went to LAN under the name Going to R-Word Hafu at LAN, and they got to compete at an official Blizzard event. Guys, we are in a community that has never been welcoming to women, has always pushed them out and made it an unsafe space for them. Of course, we've ended up at a place where women are a huge minority of the player base that are looking to compete. Even in the open qualifiers for Game Changers, how many teams are there? It's 48, something like that compete, and the range of ranks is wider than, for example, Challengers in 2022. You had to be Immortal Plus to play in Challengers, right? It was something like that. Game Changers encompasses more ranks and has way less teams competing, because it's just still in a place where there are way less women in this space inclined to play, because they've been historically pushed out, historically ostracized for who they are. And goddamn, I'm going on and on. I apologize. But I remember when I was coming up and playing TF2, which provided those stupid ass esports earnings we were looking at earlier. One point I see all the time is dude, everybody gets insulted online. And it's yeah, dude, I was getting called shit at the game every day. I wasn't being ostracized and pushed out for who I am, and people were just calling me bad. That's what we all dealt with. Ball, I'm sure you, Josh, you were getting called bad all the time, but you kept playing.
I still get called bad constantly.
And it doesn't stop you.
I'm immortal too in Europe, and it ain't gonna stop me anytime soon. But also, a lot of the people that talk about that kind of thing, Wyatt, are referring back to like the 2001 days where people were genuinely, deliberately malicious to everybody they met on the internet. And in general, actually, the internet has become a much friendlier place in the last like 20 years. If you remember back to what it was like, maybe I'm talking too far ago in 2001. Actually, maybe it was more like 2011 or something. Yeah,
Jesus
it was
Christ.
horrendous. It definitely has got better, but one of the places where it doesn't seem to be getting it, I mean, I'm sure it is getting better because it was probably far, far worse back then. I mean, just the story you were talking about with Hafu makes that more obvious, but it just still seems quite normalized for areas where people are talking about game changers to be flooded with. It's like almost an invitation for all of the weirdos to just turn up and give their 2 cents about the issue. Like, fuck off. Who asked?
Something that you said, Wyatt, about like, women being accepted, women, trans, and people being accepted in the gaming space. I think it has become a place where the majority of people accept that and welcome it and whatever. But it has gone for the fucking vocal minority, who is now a minority, is so loud and obnoxious about it for literally because they feel threatened. I don't understand what where it's coming from them, but they've gotten more toxic. They've gotten more aggressive towards.
I mean, I think that also ties into the larger political climate of just transphobia being more like of a talking point from the politicians
100%.
and the media across a lot of different countries. I think that's one of the horrendous realities of the recent years in like the last, I'm not exactly sure what it is, like maybe 3 or 5 years. It seems to have gotten significantly worse.
Yeah.
What I find, sorry, Mimi, were you going to say something?
No, go ahead.
Okay. I mean, and speaking on that, one of the another thing that's so commonly seen, and why I was going on about the importance of game changers and the history of women in esports and inspiring the next generations, is because one of the points that I sadly see constantly from people who are desperate to try and pretend that they are the ones living in this world of facts and logic, and we, people dissenting against them are simply emotional, refuse to acknowledge the facts of what I was saying, of how women in esports have been treated historically and how we've gotten to this place, and are constantly just throwing out biology, biological this, biological
the
that.
Fact
but
parade
no
just ruins me. Follow any of the recent medical science and you come to the conclusion that it is a real thing, and that the best way of supporting it is by being supportive of people who are attempting to transition or deal with it in whatever way that they're, trying to deal with it in, whatever they choose to do. The people who are fucking the Fact Brigade are going down there like what they learned at fucking GCSE biology, and just thinking that is the cutting edge of what people are up to. They don't read any further. Motherfuckers, if you want to follow the facts, follow the fucking facts. I'll welcome you at the end. We'll sit here waiting for you. Come on, you're gonna come down this road if you actually follow the facts. Fucking follow them. It's outrageous.
Oh God.
I mean, it's unbelievable, and to talk specifically,
it pisses me off.
To talk specifically about, I want to, transphobia on the internet has always fucking been there. It's the classic thing. Talking of like stuff back in time, that's always fucking existed. But I think what's interesting now, as trans people in gaming and competing have become, I think, more broadly accepted, and it's become a better space to be trans. It's still shit, but it's definitely better than it was 10 years ago. I think the tone that the people who are, because let's be honest, most of the people who are critiquing trans people competing in events like Game Changers, in events like ESL Impact, are taking the tone of it's an invasion of women's spaces, which is honestly like an echo of the greater, the kind of like greater fight in society that's like, from being spouted by politicians of like, oh, trans people are evil because they're going to go use the bathroom with other women, or they're going to go play in sports and try and win trophies, which is ludicrous, but that's the tone being taken in esports. To start, trans women are just women. It doesn't fucking matter. There's no fucking biological advantage in esports. You're playing a fucking video game. Where is like the biological mechanism that is gonna like give someone a huge advantage and destroy someone? That's ludicrous, but it's just such an unbelievably bad faith argument, because the same people that are trying to push out trans women from gaming, from competition, and giving some bullshit reason, it's always fucking men. It's always just shitty men on the internet who don't give a fuck. The thing is, I want to bring up like one of my like best friends, Pine, who's a trans woman. She competed in Counter-Strike before ESL Impact, like 2016, 2017. She put out a tweet about this where she was like, hey, my entire time competing, everyone that was supportive to me were my teammates, the people I was playing against, had friendly rivalry, who were cis women or trans women, never had a problem. The problem always fucking arose from other male players who didn't give a fuck about the scene otherwise, but just want to use defending women's esports as an excuse to be transphobic. Let's not let ourselves see through anything that is always only an excuse. That you are transphobic and just a sexist piece of shit to say that, hey, just because I love women's esports so much all of a sudden, I want to keep trans people out of it, is fucking ludicrous. A trans person
I've always
in esports,
been here.
I've always been here. I'm the greatest defender of the scene. Shut the fuck up. Women's esports doesn't need a fucking savior, and certainly doesn't need one whose entire pitch is just to be transphobic. Trans women who compete, and NB people as well, who compete in the marginalized gender scene are just players, just like anyone fucking else. It's a video game. It doesn't matter how you report. It doesn't matter how you identify. If you're marginalized gender, you can fucking play in Game Changers or any other similar thing, and you're not going to hurt anyone. You will find that 99.9% of the time, these people who are heavily critiqued and shit on by random men in the public are accepted and valued members of the community, and it is all bad faith argument from people who have no bearing on the scene.
Oh, I mean, to
goodbye.
maybe just take it or leave.
Drops camera.
I mean, yeah. To kind of piggyback off that, it's also, it reminds me of I mean, Jesus, do you guys remember what the community was like when Potter was playing on EG? The obsessiveness over her performance in every single game. You know, I use the word influencers here loosely, but people that are desperate to get any amount of engagement on Twitter, just posting her stats, trying to shit on her to get sexist weirdos to follow them for attention. The hyper obsession over her when she was competing was,
I mean, remember even when she was a
ludicrous,
coach
man.
before EG started winning. Remember the whole like George Ged's I can't say that word for some fucking brigade against her for some reason. It's always the same shit, and it's never in good faith. It's always people who are sexist trying to find something to cloud. Be it when it's about trans people competing, I'm protecting women's spaces. When women are playing in a game, oh, I'm not being sexist. It's just that she's not performing well. I would do this about any player. Yeah. No, motherfucker. It's always just an excuse to be sexist or transphobic.
To be fair, like, not to keep this on Potter, but like when I used to scrim against the SK ladies team that Potter was on way back in the day, we just find them randomly. My teammates were such dicks. Like in the voice chat, they're like, "Oh, we're playing against girls. We can't lose this scrim. We can't lose this scrim." Like it was crazy, and we have come a long way. Like let me be clear. Like the next couple of times we play, like it's much easier to like say, "Guys, this is a normal scrim. Like you played against them. Like this is stupid. Like what the fuck are you guys saying?" But like you've come a long way to the point where women now feel comfortable like going out and scrimming sometimes. They still get this shit all the time, but they now have the tools to deal with it because they have a massive community now around them because Valorant has been massively successful in this regard. Like, I don't think people realize, but like there's been like the old games, the esports games, like 20% women playing, right? And that boils down to like 5%, 10% of women like participating in the esport at all, like not even close to a 50-50.
Yeah.
In Valorant, it's up there. Like we are literally very close to a 50-50 split, not only in terms of like people watching, but in terms of people competing, in terms of people playing the game overall in general too. So you're just going to continue to get that because this is now somewhere where it is welcome, and we have to continuously bash back against these people who are trying to break down the space that has been created.
Yeah, that is just such a key point in all of this, that it not being recognized is maddening. And that point being what you said, Ball, about the percentage of people playing. It's just never been high. And people think that the reason that there's no women competing on a tier 1 CSGO team is because they can't. No, it's because there's barely any people playing. Like the population is so small. And why is that? All the reasons we've, illustrated here. And, again, yeah, kind of how, to some extent, how this started, or I think I said it. It's like, listen, though it's like you just wish things could be fine, and it's like, goddamn, we really have to talk about this every time there's game changers. But
it is
listen,
ridiculous.
We'll talk about it until shit is better, because it matters, it's important. And if you don't, speak for this change, it's not going to happen, because it hasn't fucking happened in the last 20 years. And Jesus Lord, the people that were my age now, when I was a teenager playing games, and what they were saying and what the culture was like then, holy shit, it was egregious. It's better now. It's still bad, but, now being in that position
I think
where
I think a lot of it's
gaming,
better now, though, because it's
up.
younger people.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
I think a lot of it's better now because it's younger people involved as well. If it was the same crop of people, I don't know whether they've necessarily learned. It's just that they've been replaced.
They definitely
by
haven't,
people
as
who are
they've
younger
shown.
than them with more progressive attitudes.
Yeah. Well, also people who get harassed have places and people to, vent to. Before, back in 2001, people who get harassed for people by being sexist, people who are being racist, they ain't got nobody to talk to. You're the only woman playing in ESCA, that you know what I mean? You're the only black person playing in whatever. I'm not to make race a thing at all, but that's the minorities are there by themselves. They don't have places, they don't have outlets to support them, and that makes it all the more hard to deal with instances of harassment, instances of just targeted bullshit at them.
Yeah. All right. I think we've said what needs to be said, vocalized our thoughts here. Is there anything else before we're gonna head to a break for a bit and then return with discussion about the AfreecaTV tournament? Mimi, give us the conclusion.
Don't be a sexist. Don't be a transphobe. Fuck you. And also, well, this is what the majority of attention is being got to, because these people are shit. We are in a much better place than we have been before for trans people, for women. The fact that Game Changers even exists, the fact that we can fucking have these competitions is awesome. But you still have to go out and fucking critique when people do dumb shit. It just cannot be allowed to be acceptable in the community, so that we can get more of these stories in the future, so we can get more diverse groups of people playing and competing at highest level of esports, because esports is fucking awesome, and everyone deserves to be able to play and to be able to be judged for how fucking good they are at the game and how good their team is, and they deserve to be like fucking 2008 and be called shit for being bad at the game and not for being trans.
One more thing too, if I can.
Yep.
If you have a friend that you see post some vile shit on Twitter, stop being their fucking friend. It's so simple. Stop playing on their team. Stop doing anything. Just ostracize. They don't. They're not fucking real, man. Just don't allow them to live that life. They're not real, man. I don't get it. They can't be. Just don't. Those people are so bad to be in.
There are enough people around, yeah.
Yeah, just find other people who think like it's. I don't know.
There's lots of fish in the sea. There's plenty of people everywhere.
All these motherfuckers are posting. They followed by this person. I'm like, what are you talking? Why? Who are you? And why are you following them? And why are you playing on their team? Get out of there. Get out.
Yep. All right. You guys want to send it to a break and then return? Are you ready to go?
I've got things to speak about.
Let's send it to a break.
Tournament. Get me to the break.
What did you say, Josh?
Listen. Sorry.
What'd you say, Wilkinson?
Sorry, I said I've got things to talk about with the Africa tournament. Send me to the break.
Okay, we're sending it to the break. I'm gonna get some water.
Yeah, get some water, get some snacks, use the restroom. I'm gonna put on some Heaven McLeod. Let's go.
Yippee!
I keep desyncing, so I'm gonna refresh.
Luck.
Also, at some point, I'm gonna fix his screen. It's been bugged for months.
Yo, shout out to the mods for being based. Controlling
that is real.
these.
Shout out to the mod team. Clean up the trash.
Kurt, can you mute Josh's mic? I don't know if Josh is or if Kurt's here.
Kurt went away.
Like I just hear him talking to Beth in the background. I don't want him to be talking about some important shit. I'll just beatbox over the elevator music to drown out Beth and Josh.
That's going off. Hold on. I might have to pin a 16 really quick if you're gonna keep doing that ball.
Doug. Wyatt, I need help, man.
What?
I'm addicted to World of Warcraft.
There's no way the WoW got you.
Dude, this guy's a
There's
fucking
no way.
dork.
You're like 40 years late.
Dude, no, it's not late. I'm reliving my 13-year-old dream, dude.
Oh, you played it when you were 13?
Yeah, dude, this is
Oh,
crazy.
it's the nostalgia's got you.
Sorry, Josh, I was
That
trying to
one
find
kin.
it.
Thanks for the 30-month member. Whoa, pop off.
Let's go, Mike.
What is this vibe shift with the music?
Yeah, I don't know. I wanted to get a. This is a good song though. This is good countdown music.
All right, so how bad has your addiction got?
I stayed up till 1:30 a.m. last night for the first time in probably 5 years. I mean,
That surprises
obviously
me more
outside
that
of
you
outside
are
of
so
events,
disciplined.
but yeah.
We all know how you are at events.
Oh my god, dude, this guy's demonic at the events.
Am I? Yeah. A little
Yeah,
bit.
you're silly
Dude,
as hell.
this guy
You're a
goes
bad influence on me.
crazy at the events. I mean, I might be exaggerating, but
I
this
was
is my
pretty
new
good
narrative.
this year. Like, come on, guys. I was the adult this year.
Dude, you had
Let's
us
be
do
real.
Everclear shots.
What? You guys remember that?
This is my new narrative, where I tell lies about Bala being a demon at the events. Ugh, Christ. Wait, this song sounds hard.
Ooh.
Hey.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. This is Christmas music.
All the way.
Yo!
One
I'm
horse
getting
open
pretty.
sleigh. Hey.
I'm getting pretty frequent desyncs, by the way. If I sound like I'm like, I don't know, responding to you guys late, it's because my internet's going dodgy over here.
It's okay, Josh. Just get better internet.
One horse open sleigh.
Jingle bells.
Damn.
All right.
Love this
Yeah.
song.
Are we back? 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 Coming at you live and direct. The last episode from the compound. Savor it while it lasts, viewers and listeners.
Did you just lick your camera? Wait, what the fuck?
What is this guy doing?
Who did that?
I thought that was Mimi. I thought that was
No,
you.
no.
Who did that? I heard
No
it.
one did anything.
That was Mimi.
No, I didn't do shit.
I heard someone slurping, but we're
Somebody
gonna...
what?
A slurper? I hardly know her.
Boo!
I'm a comedian.
All right.
Yeah, this is a comedy podcast.
Josh wanted us to hurry the F up and get to the he's going to freak the Africa topic. He wanted to
He's
hurry it
gonna,
up and get
freak
us
out.
there.
Well,
Sentinels.
I'm going to be honest with you. I've only watched this one game. I didn't have time to do VOD review on the other matches. But,
Wait,
but
okay,
I've
can
got
we
things
just
to
raise
talk
our
about this
hands
one.
with, like, the number of VODs we've watched from this Africa tournament?
Dude, wait.
All right, well,
We're
Bala's
ready
going
to
to
go.
count.
Crazy. Listen, guys, I've been moving all week. I don't have time to watch the Africa tournament outside of Sentinels. And you know Sentinels are hyped about this win because they straight up posted the match on their YouTube channel. You know they
The
want
whole
people to
match?
see this. Yes. Well, they kind of
Wow.
cut it down like daily Valorant, but it's like it's basically
try and get
the
away
full
with
match.
it?
Yeah, it's like an hour 20 they uploaded of just beating
That's
Paper Rex.
crazy.
Now, my first question is, has Jinggg done unrecoverable damage to the Paper Rex narrative heading into this year with this match and his performance?
He raided me while I was doing a VOD review of this game, and I said, Jinggg, why did you play? And he said, sometimes the cheerleader has to step in. And I was like, that doesn't explain anything, Jinggg. Why were they using an off-season tournament where they should have been integrating Monyet to just rotate the roster around? And he goes, haha, just Paper Rex off-season things. If we have a good off-season, we have a bad regular season. So...
I mean, it's just him subbing in and then just like winning a 1v4 on Arena to bring them to overtime. It's like, dude, this is fucked up. Like, they're just... Dude, poor money. Yet everyone's gonna be doubting him now for this off season.
But I mean,
yeah, Josh, go.
Can I
on.
Everybody's
rant?
getting cut. I don't
Josh,
know,
go
at
off.
the beginning of the season.
It's the Wilkinson.
all
era.
right. I know you're gonna expect this, but Sen winning was less Sen being good and more Paper X fucking trolling. They kept on switching players between maps, which really hampered their team coordination. And something on Yoru was awful. Please never put him on Yoru again. On Sunset, Jinggg just destroyed Sen, and my god, was Tens trolling. Bro was TPing on the most obnoxious places and kept getting caught. My guy was dying first too many times on Omen. I don't know what the Sentinel staff was cooking with this one. Honestly, he's too aggressive to be on smokes. I could make a whole new Tens video on Omen with how this guy was playing. It was literally so bizarre. And I'm referring to the round where Tens TP'd on the top box and killed Forsaken. Forsaken never thought that Tens would be crazy to do that, referring to the last round. But again, it's just Tens, so he ends up killing people bizarrely.
Was that the whole
Yep.
rant? I wanted more.
That was the... Well, if you take a look at the recent VLR thread titled Sideshow's exact words today, Plat chat, that's what the people wanted me to say.
Is that it?
Well, can
None of us
Wait,
look at
the
VLR. What the
Reddit
fuck are you
script
talking
now-
about?
you're just reading
I,
a
I,
thread?
just,
now-
I just went on VLR and it's just people being fucking transphobic. So like, let me get the fuck off of this website real quick. Like,
I'm now
Yeah, people who post
crowdsourcing
on
my
forums in
analysis.
2023. So that
No,
wasn't even
I'm
your
now
point.
crowdsourcing my analysis. Oh, no, I don't believe any of that.
Oh,
Oh.
can you go on your actual rant? Or was that a
No, that was it.
fabrication?
No, that was just an entire fabrication. No.
I feel
The
so
people thought that I was
teased.
going to go off on the Tens Omen. No, I mean, okay, the actual take from this game, though, is that Paper X are kind of wasting their time because they should be trying to integrate Monyet on Duelist, surely, with Jinggg about to leave. But he only played map 1 and map 3 on Omen, so that's really bizarre from Paper X's point of view. Paper X played so badly on map 1 that we didn't even get to see, actually, a map because they just made so many mistakes in terms of how they were positioning themselves with a bit of an unusual comp that we didn't get to really see that play out. So what instead we got was a weird match where you had Sentinels getting the only big thing to take away from this in terms of like knowledge moving forwards into the future is that if Sentinels A take on Sunset gets shut down, their entire attack side falls to pieces, and their defense still hasn't improved. And the only other thing that we got taken away from this is that they're still running Zelsis instead of Pancada, and Zelsis is fantastic. He played nuts. He was so good in this match, but that also now means that Tens is playing Omen, and it's quite clear that he hasn't played a lot of it, right? I mean, he's going for TikTok stuff all the time, but I'm bored at this point of saying the take. Like, I'm literally sick of just being the guy that says they would have a lot more success if they just benched Tens and played Zelsis and Pancada, because it's so obvious, and I've just said it so many times that my opinion is not changing by watching this, and yet people are like, "Hey, what do you think of seeing Tens on Omen?" Like, it's the same thing I thought when he was playing everything else. It's just, I feel like this team is slowly working through their options to get to either the inevitable, the obvious conclusion. Yeah, I guess is kind of my point here, or maybe they just don't ever want to bench Tens, but they're rotating his role around, so he's not even practicing the same stuff. His Omen doesn't quite look as good as his Breach did on Sunset as well. And that's to make Zelsis more comfortable, I would imagine, because Zelsis looked a bit uncomfortable when he was playing Sunset before. It's not that, I mean, this team overall actually still looks pretty good. They look better with Zelsis in. They're more coordinated. They had good, like, adaptations. John Cuty's calling was good. The double lurk stuff was good on Breeze between John Cuty and Zelsis as well when Zelsis was on Viper. But it's really difficult to imagine them playing the meta Viper comp on Haven ever when they don't have Pancada in, because what, they're going to run Zelsis and Tens on Viper Omen or Viper Harbor? So it's just a head scratcher all round from both of these teams. And I know people want me to say some inflammatory shit about how Tens is trolling, but really it just feels like a road to the inevitable same conclusion that I made like months ago.
They still won though, Josh. Come on now.
No, I said that they could win. I literally said that Sentinels had a great chance of being able to win this game. People forget that Paper Rex love experimenting like a huge amount. Even I wasn't expecting them to run Jinggg, but they like running all sorts of different compositions. And Sentinels, we've seen them getting better and better. It was unusual in the way that they won, winning on Breeze and winning on Haven. But I don't think that this was like a crazy upset that came out of nowhere. Sentinels still look all right with this roster. It's just weird. It's just really, really weird, the decisions that they're making.
Yeah, completely agreed. On both sides, on both Paper Rex and Sentinels. I do think the one thing that I like that stood out to me in terms of Paper Rex is the fact that they picked Breeze. Like, this was a map that they barely ever played. I think they played it one time in Copenhagen way back in the grand finals, and they just picked some random crazy shit. It was a permaban for them in the past, and now that it's back in the map pool, I think they're trying to like quickly get reps on it to see if it's like to work out what they're going to play in the pool, because otherwise it ends up being like slightly weak in comparison to what Champions gave them. And they still also have to work at, what the roles and what the comps are actually going to be on the rest of the map, because they have a lot of experimenting to do. They actually need to get through this right now to find where Monyet is going to fit with the rest of them, and how Forsaken is going to be flexing on a lot of this stuff, because especially if they like want to run Yoru, I think the inevitable conclusion for them is, I mean, similar to Tens, the Tens thing. I think it's obvious that Forsaken is the guy who should be playing Yoru on this team if they want to make it work, especially because something has played Breach in the past. But you need to try some of these things in official matches.
In theory, Monyet being on Paper Rex is great because they can play like the double smokes compositions so easily, with something playing the primary duelist and then Divide playing the initiator and the double smokes coming from Mindfreak and Monyet. Like, that makes total sense. And then also because Monyet's played duelist in the past as well, if he's still any good on duelist, which he was good, but it's not like a proven tier 1 top level duelist player. But judging how he played on smokes, if he can just go back to his old role and have some success, they can still play a bunch of double duelist stuff like they used to. But I'm just worried that Forsaken's going to get dragged back into playing duelist, and they're going to be playing Jet Rainer, and they're going to lose that spark that was working. I saw a Reddit thread that was saying, because people love just being the reaction to the joke, but people are joking about them trolling with the compositions and stuff. and using the word very loosely of them trolling. And they're like, stop with the Paper Rex's trolling narrative. And it's like, it's not necessarily that they're trolling like they're throwing everything away, but the point that this person was making, who was talking on the Reddit, was saying that, that, you know, one of their strengths has always been the weird comps or the weird ideas. And while that's true, it's about finding the weird ideas that work. And I think that going back to just running, you know, stuff that doesn't synergize well, or going back to running like Mind Freak Rays or something, is not the way that you're going to find success with this team.
Yeah, I think it just completely changes the pace. But one thing that we don't really know, and like you said, we haven't seen Monya really played Duelist in a long time, and whether he's up to a tier 1 level, but more importantly, whether he's even up to the Paper X pace. Like, you have to understand, like, the reason why the double duelist stuff works a lot for Paper X is because these motherfuckers work at the speed of light in terms of their thinking and decision making. And that's, you can't just sub in, like, Yay wouldn't work on this team, for example. Like, it's not the same. So
no,
you have to be, I'm sure they've worked it out in scrims to the point where I'm pretty sure based on this match alone, I don't think they're thinking about that anymore. So they have to come up with other solutions. And I was kind of joking. It was tongue in cheek when I said somebody's getting cut at the beginning of the season. But I think, like, we might end up in the same situation that we ended up in this year with the slowdown that they had and the amount of changes that they need to make with Benkai benching and all that stuff at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Because I think, like you said, you're scared of the Forsaken Duelist, but maybe there's no other option.
I think they'll probably just take a few weeks at the beginning of the season where they look really rough to figure this out, and they're still going to be fine. But that also might mean that they end up missing Madrid, because that is like immediately off the ground. That's a tournament where you have to make top 2 to be able to go to the tournament.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was confusing the way that I worded that, but you have to make top 2 in your regional tournament in order to make it to Madrid, the Masters tournament. And that's just straight, like, right from the beginning, it's a tournament style play, right? It's not like a league play. They called it the kickoff tournament or something. So yeah.
On Sentinels, brother, when Saucy gets to play Sova, he goes crazy. That has just been the case for years at this point. It's just, yeah, Josh.
Do you remember the Guess That Player I did a while back?
I knew you were about to say that. Yep.
The Skye
Okay,
Skye.
right? The Skye versus Sova. And you remember what I was talking about, right? Of his Sova stats being so much better. Do you want to know what I looked up today?
I want to know. Yeah.
Can you bring up VLR, Kurt, of the Sentinels Paper X game on Breeze? So Sassy won this game. I don't want to say just Sassy, obviously, but he has the top rating, top ACS, etc. 13-7 win on Breeze. This was the first game that Sassy has won on Sova since the grand finals of Champions, where he played for Loud. He has never won a map playing Sova for Sentinels. He was 0-11 even against the Taric All-Stars team playing for Sentinels. Never won once, despite having much better stats on the roll. He was 0-11. This is the first time that he's won a map on Sova, his best agent.
And he still has better stats on it, despite losing all those games. That is wild.
Yes.
Holy shit. Yeah, he did go crazy. And, I mean, you mentioned Zul. Oh, dude. I mean, it's just, there's like no way they can play without Zelsis at this point, right? I mean, the amount of impact
the team
kills
so much.
he has, crucial, at the most crucial moments in rounds, he'll consistently be the guy that'll get the kill to turn things around. What he provides with communication and as a personality and for the morale of the team. I feel like I come on here and just slurp
glaze
this
him
dude every
week.
week. But like, it's just, he's just so good that it's like, this shit is bananas that he didn't get a starting spot and is now getting the Sentinels treatment where they're rotating him. I mean, yeah, now he did.
He did get a starting spot.
And now he's gotten a starting spot, basically. Like, if you're management, how can they not be inclined to put him in full time at this point? I just don't see how that's not going to be an end result of this, unless he doesn't want to and wants to make content. But
I would be losing my mind if I was a Brazilian fan, by the way, where you're watching like Xande on stream talking about the death of the Brazilian scene because none of their tier 2 talent can compete and in scrim environments with top tier teams. And then you're looking at your Brazilian players who are at the absolute peak, who were, dominating the world and then moved over to Sentinels, and Pancada's just withering away on the bench. And you can just see it just looks like Pancada's career is about to get flushed down the toilet here because is he just going to wither away on the bench? Are they going to have some kind of weird rotating 6-person roster? Are they going to release him and he actually gets picked up by another Brazilian team and gets to actually recover his career? Because at this point, the dude hasn't even played smokes in a match for ages because he was playing an off role all last year. He played smokes like in an off-season map like once and farmed. And he was ill that time when they subbed him in as well when he underperformed. Like, we haven't even got to see Pancada play since he won champs.
That switch to Sentinel last year might have done some, maybe not even might have, but that might have done some damage to the career of a fantastic player.
I mean, I think it just
wasn't the role for
did,
him.
right? Because he gets switched onto a role, doesn't compete well, not that lowers his stocks into the next year. Sentinels has different priorities, but they don't want to get rid of him because he's kind of an asset to the team if they ever wanted to use him. I mean, he's just in a position where it's like the golden bullet is shooting him of, I get to have a Sentinel salary, this should be a good opportunity, we should start performing, this should be the moment, and then it just never happened, and now he's in this position where he's just like stuck, and it seems like
maybe he ends up playing, but I think that would be a weird thing for Sentinels. But the thing is that all comes back to like they're not gonna bench 10s, I don't think ever. I just don't. I don't believe there's a world where that'll ever happen. Where they'll ever I don't think they're gonna make room. And then it's like, what's the other option? Do you get rid of Zelsis? Like, what are you going to choose? It's just such an impossible position if they're as stagnant with the decisions they've already made, which seems to be the case.
I mean, I'm not even I don't have any Brazilian blood at all, but my blood is fucking boiling, bro. It's an insane situation to have. And it's not even something that's new to them either, because this shit happened in CS too. Fucking Brazilian talent going to wither and die on NA teams. Like, that shit happens all the time, and they end up coaching the fucking NA teams down the line. Like, it's tragic.
What it reminds me of is the English-speaking players on Korean teams in Overwatch, where you would build these people would build these mixed rosters, and eventually the Korean-speaking players, who were generally the better players overall, kind of just found it more fluid to play with other Korean-speaking players, and just naturally pushed out a lot of, not all the time, but just naturally ended up pushing out quite a few of the English-speaking players on the team, and often to the detriment of the team, by the way. And it feels the same here, where a lot of the English-speaking component just has more natural synergy together because of the communication buff, that they've ended up pushing out a really talented player where they just end up not ever fulfilling that potential.
Yeah. Well, it's also, like, I don't even, based on my understanding from Loud, the championship Loud, I don't think Pancada was even the most communicative, like, even when he was speaking in Portuguese. I don't think that team was even, like, necessarily the most communicative. So, like, when you put the two elements together, they don't mesh. And honestly, like, thinking back to last year's like roster, the Def IGL mix might have been the best like attempt at trying to combine those two factors. But at this point, it kind of feels a little too far gone in getting that point. So anyways, it is what it is, and now Sentinels has to, like, it's something that I'm like kind of coming to terms with, is they have to just make the best decisions for their own team. And as fans, like, you have to understand that too. You're not always going to be happy with the outcome, and as a Brazilian fan, you're not going to be happy with the outcome. But it's unfortunate, but this is how the situation crumbles now, especially with franchising, and especially with them trying to think for not just this year, but the next year and the next year too. Like, they have to start building for that. Whereas,
but man, as much as we're talking about Sentinels being in a potential like tough situation where they have to make a really difficult choice, even if they end up going with the current roster that they're currently playing with, these 5 players, the addition of Zelsis and John Cutie has made this a totally different team. I mean, this is a team that can actually do stuff. They're doing fantastic in this offseason. Like, it's really like, everybody, they're improving every single time, and they're playing so many. Yeah, some of them are complete Mickey Mouse, but like, this one's serious. Like, guys, they just beat Paper Rex, and yeah, Paper Rex are trolling, but like,
they're traveling to international land. Like they're really working at this in the offseason. This isn't just a gimmick. Like it's very interesting.
No, it's good.
John's
And
looked
they're also
fantastic.
exposing a lot of their holes. Sorry, Wyatt. Yeah, they're exposing a lot of their holes, and yeah, John's been excellent. I mean, IGLing and fragging.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to more of the matches in the tournament. T1 have finally debuted with their madness roster that we've been speculating over who's playing. God knows what they're doing. And they ended up playing with Excurate, Saya player, Rossi, Izu, and Carpe is still playing. So
Who had this?
I don't think
this on the
anybody
bingo
predicted
card?
this. This is crazy. Like this is insane. And yeah, Carpe is IGLing. Like who the fuck would have guessed this? Nobody. I thought it was gonna
no
be King
Zeta?
or Zeta. Like
no
at the
Zeta,
minimum.
no King.
I feel like Autumn must be trolling with that tweet.
I mean, they
like,
won,
Autumn
though.
tweeted saying that Carpe. No, but I don't mean Autumn was trolling like doing this.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like Autumn is trolling by saying that Carpe is IGLing. Like, is he maybe just typing that out in English so that the English-speaking people just bite on that? It's just so nonsense. It doesn't make sense. Like the way in which he tweets it. Nice IGLing, by the way, Carpe. Keep it up. It just.
That's gotta be
my
troll.
troll sensor is going off the charts. It might. I mean, it totally could be true. I mean, and he has said it. This is like a primary source. It's coming from the coach. But my troll sensor is going off the charts.
Director,
see what
I
you're saying.
trust you.
I don't think that Autumn I don't think is the only source because Paperthin was saying it a lot and I'm pretty sure he talked to Wawa specifically like the manager GM
okay.
of T1.
Conspiracy. Paperthin's in on it too. Paperthin has been paid off.
Yeah. I mean, they played great. I mean, they kind of shit on EDG. I'm not gonna lie. Like they kind of just handled them very easily this morning. It was easy, and they played like the old stuff too. They were running the Gekko on bind. They absolutely dismantled them on their attack side of Lotus. Like very good concepts. Like out of all the teams that started in this event, like there's no shakiness. DRX, we're probably not going to talk about them too much against Full Sense, but mad shakiness. They're playing with their main roster with RB and Zest in there. And I mean, they almost got rolled. They almost lost to Full Sense. Whereas T1, like, they dispatched EDG, and EDG is a team who's given them a lot of problems in the past. Listening to like we get a lot of snippets on the Africa stream of comps because they don't give a fuck about like leaking stuff for some reason in the Pacific scene.
It's wild.
So we just constantly get, and they're all talking in English, and Rossi is a huge, like, if I'm listening to that comms only and I'm trying to like frame my mind about like what the team is doing, Rossi is massively impactful. I mean, you could see them literally light up when Ross did not even do anything. He's just yelling comms. Like, he's just yelling two left. And motherfuckers are like getting hype with it. And it's very interesting. It's nice that they're able to integrate that quickly with him and be able to work off of it because the chemistry was really good. The teamwork was very good for a team that's just put together.
What are those?
I didn't watch this game yet, but I was, having watched EDG in China, I was so reluctant to be praising them last week when we were talking about them winning 3 times, scooping all of the acts in China, because what I saw from them looked dodgy. And yes, EDG have given T1 a lot of problems in the past, but that was, the other version of T1. I don't know how good this version is going to end up being, but these were 2 teams that were relatively close in the global scene towards the end of last year.
Yeah.
And with EDG looking so dodgy in China, the reason that we all predicted against T1 was because we just had no idea what they were doing with their roster. But if their roster makes sense, if what they're doing actually seems like it's generating results with these players, it doesn't seem that wild to me that this result would go this way. But again, I haven't watched the game yet, but was it the same dodginess from EDG, Bala?
Yeah. I mean, it was... yeah, it was. I mean, especially Kong Kong. It just like was not hitting. Like, so that's definitely something that's cropped up a few times in the Chinese region, and yeah, it just wasn't hitting.
Oh, it was 1-7 on Lotus in first kills to first death.
It was horrible, and he was trying to op a lot, and actually T1 was doing like this double op shit too, and he was just getting destroyed because he kept peeking into that and getting rocked because he doesn't know where the op is because it's on both sides of the map. It was nice, very interesting. I think I mean, I wasn't super in tune with the Chinese. Like, I watched maybe all the finals, and that was pretty much it. Maybe some of their like close games and losses that they had against like Rare Atom and stuff, and Trace. But overall, like, I wasn't super in tune, and I think it's the same EDG that I've always seen, where they have explosiveness, and if they don't have that explosiveness and they don't have that clutching power, then they're failing. And
Yeah.
like even back in any of their runs, like they were doing some bonker stuff that doesn't make any sense, but they were winning those rounds anyways because they have such insane like ability to win out these rounds. And maybe it's just not hitting the offseason, maybe they're in a slump or whatever, but I'm still of the opinion that like when you play like that, eventually it'll come out again.
I did want to ask you though, Bala, what's the take after the first game of Xcurate and Izu? Because those were two of the big question marks.
Xcurate was very impressive, both on Brim and then he played Chamber on Lotus. And Chamber on Lotus, like he went like, I don't know, like 11-2 or something like that in the first like 3 rounds, or like very early rounds in that. Yeah, he was nasty. Hitting very clean pistol shots. I think a lot of the pistol rounds came down to him. And yeah, different Kong in a lot of instances. I was very impressed. I think Isu I wasn't as sold with, but it's hard to. I wasn't fully focused on like specifically Isu when there's so much shit changing in that game, like so much shit. I was more like looking at the cohesion and stuff like that, and I think he was pretty good in terms of teamwork, fundamentals, that sort of thing. That's more what I was looking for in this game.
Gotcha. It'll be interesting to see if they can keep this up throughout the tournament again. Many other teams have been definitely a question mark in this offseason.
I mean, they should make it out of this group now. Like,
yeah, 100%. They're
beat
playing.
EDG,
Who are they playing against
they're
next?
gonna Team Liquid, but
Right.
yeah, we don't. Team Liquid played against Fancy, and I didn't. That was the one game I didn't watch. But Fancy United aren't playing with like I think their star player or something like that. I didn't really. I don't know much about that team, anyways. But they traveled, and unfortunately, like one of their players couldn't come, so they have a sub, and they got shit on by Liquid.
All right. We are going to go ahead and do our bold predictions for the tournament. Who is going to win?
Mine are fucking wild. Josh is predicting Sentinels.
Wait,
I'm gonna
there's
predict
2?
all your predictions.
No, there's just one. Okay, I picked Paper Rex. Josh and Mimi have picked Sentinels, and Bala picked
There's
DRX.
no way you went for Sentinels, Mimi.
There's no way you went
DRX.
for Sentinels.
There's no way
hold
you
on.
went for
First
the
of all,
as well.
Josh and Mimi, defend yourselves.
Sentinels.
I refer to Mimi's previous comment.
Thank
That's
you for
all you
listening
got.
to us. I hope this presentation
that's
was
all we got.
illuminating.
I just thought it'd be funny for me to pred Sentinels after going off about how much they've got like issues with them. I think they're a pretty good team though. I think they actually could do some damage, but I don't know. I didn't watch enough games to like. I did the T1 game is so important. I feel to have an accurate prediction of who's going to win the tournament because depending on how good they looked, they might just take it all. No, none of us went for T1 though.
No, none of us did. Bala,
I mean,
wait,
they
Mimi,
beat Paper
what were you
Rex.
going to say about Sentinels?
I was just adding, like, they're doing a lot of clowning, but also they're getting better. They have, like, some insane players who've been, honestly, like, Zekken, good player, famously has been doing well. Like, they beat Paper Rex, obviously, amongst troll circumstances, but I feel like everyone is doing at least an iota of trolling this tournament, if
Yeah,
not much,
definitely.
much more. That there is a real chance, despite the issues that we discussed ad nauseum, that they could just win this tournament, because they are not a bad team.
Yeah, I mean, I think actually the Sentinels pred is like low-key the more defensible one after everything out of our two, Wyatt. But I would say too that these off-season
You think
tournaments
so?
oftentimes, yeah, I would think so. I mean, you'll hear my defense, but like it's
All right,
not that
defend
great. Well, hold on. Let me finish my fucking point
You
first.
just undermined your own defense.
No, I mean, here's the thing. Like, I think a lot of these off-season tournaments end up getting won by a team that's just like kind of honeymooning, like their way to a potential win. Like Cloud9 almost fucking beat Fnatic in the grand finals of Red Bull. Like those sorts of things happen all the time in off-season tournaments, especially ones where there's trolling at this like amount of level. Trolling is a, I'm just saying that, but that's not actually what's happening. They're actually T1 in particular is a team that is doing things for specific reasons as outlined by Paper Thin on the broadcast and other things too and whatever. But my DRX pick is just because they're playing with their main roster. That's kind of like what I want to see if they're going to try to stick with that throughout the season anyways. Like I don't really understand what's going on, but even with the fact that they almost lost to Full Sense, I think Full Sense looked insane. I think Full Sense look nuts. But when I see Buzz in the form that he is, that dude's a monster. And Mako is playing great too. Buzz and Mako is all you need, to be honest, especially in a field like this. Buzz and Mako is literally all you needed. If they're happy to play with this roster, fuck it, like, send it. And I don't think a team like Sentinels, especially in the group stage, will be able to beat Group RX. So they should get a nice push up in the semis, and it'd be easy pickings from there against the other, second seed out of Group B.
Listen, if we're talking silly, if this is a silly tournament, Paper Rex invented silly. They created it years ago and continue to pioneer the way for getting even sillier. And if it's a silly one-on-one battle, they're going to win out. Sure, they take one early loss to Sentinels. That's fine. They're getting ahead of themselves, posting their videos. Things are going to go back to a little bit of normalcy. Paper Rex are going to beat Full Sense. They're going to beat DRX. Or they're going to get the rematch against Sentinels, and they're going to beat them. I have full confidence that they will be swinging back from one early defeat in the very first round. And from there, when they qualify through, I think, unless T1 happen to be the GOATs, I think the competition in that lower group overall is not as strong as the competition in the top group. And I think that they should be able to handle T1 and, likely Liquid who come out of that one. I'm going to go with Paper Rex. I'm not buying that they're going to be too bad off just this one close loss to Sen in the first game.
I'd like to put forward, instead of my bold predictions, my deepest hopes for this tournament. I'd like to be vulnerable for a moment.
What do you hope
Please.
for?
Safe
What
place.
I'm hoping for is that DRX get eliminated from groups. And the reason for that is I want to see Paper Rex go deeper in the tournament to the point where we actually get a sense of what they're going to be doing in 2024. Because this first match, and if they end up losing to like a Full Sense or a DRX or a Sentinels or something and just going out in groups, this whole tournament is not going to tell us anything about what their game plan is at all for next year. So I want to see them, play enough matches to the point where we actually get an idea for that. And I also want to see the same thing for Sentinels. I feel like we're not going to learn anything new about DRX in an off-season tournament. Doesn't matter if DRX won the entire thing or went out in 2. We're not really going to change our opinions of DRX heading into next year, whereas we actually might do for those other 2 teams. The other thing, in the other group, I want to see T1 and Liquid go deep in that side of the bracket too, because again, those are 2 teams where we're actually going to learn things. We're going to learn like whether Carpe is supposed to be IGLing the entire time. We're going to learn what Excurate's form looks like over the course of an entire tournament rather than just one match. And similar things for Liquid as well with that roster, even though they've got the core of Apex. So I'm hoping that EDG and DRX lose. I'm rooting for them to go home. That's what I'm rooting for reasonable reasons, I think. But honestly, that's what I'm hoping for.
I completely agree with your narrative pick'ems bracket. Like fucking amazing. Like let's go, send it.
It'll be fun.
Too bad it's not gonna happen.
That is too bad. You know what else is too bad, you guys? Which is shutting down operations in Korea.
No.
Is this going to, my first question is, does this affect Bren?
Yes.
Does it?
Actually, no, I don't think it does, because his
But he'd
channel,
have to stream to the US though. Like he'd have to
He already
encode to a
does.
US. Oh, that is fine.
He already doesn't. So he already doesn't use. So a lot of the people that stream in Korea already don't use. They don't push to the Korean servers because that limits your quality and your encoding settings as well. So a lot of people who are in Korea, they use a VPN, I believe, to use a different server entirely, something like that. There's like some complicated situation. And what this is Twitch deciding that they're going to cease monetizing any streams that are being run for people who have their primary residence when they first signed up to Twitch or have currently signed up to Twitch as Korea. So for Bren, I mean, he's in the US, right? Or maybe the UK actually when he first got partner. So he doesn't count as like a Korean Twitch streamer just because he lives there. But it actually might affect like the LCK or VCT Pacific, which I would assume are like using some kind of Korean residence in terms of where they set up the account. But they might have different setups with Twitch based on the fact that they're
I mean, either way, you're
corporate partners.
You're describing a situation where like you just have to make a new account. I don't necessarily even think that. I mean, it makes sense, but from a technical perspective, I don't think that makes like. I think there might be shit that affects a stream. No, yeah, but I think there might be other things that affected like deeper than that too, like whatever deals they have with the telecom companies and that.
Well, the deal that they have with the telecom company, as far as I understand it, is that Twitch was forced to pay really large fees to the internet service providers because Korea has a very Korean companies first policy with basically everything they do. So they're prioritizing things like AfreecaTV instead of Twitch. So Twitch in Korea doesn't have any clips. It doesn't have any. It has like they said they have like peer-to-peer broadcasting or something. I don't even understand that part of it, but they've also limited the quality options and stuff like that to try and make it as minimal cost as possible to operate in Korea, but they're still just having to pay through the nose, so they've decided to shut it down. But as far as I understand it, it's not due to some kind of legal thing where they're being stopped from operating entirely. This is Twitch deciding that it's too expensive. They're being priced out by the legislation. They're not being legislated against as in you must not run a Twitch stream from Korea. That's at least how I understand it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you could still get around it as an individual by just running a Twitch stream and doing it from somewhere else. And I don't think, I mean, maybe Twitch would shut down your account if they realized that you were getting around it and like somebody got pissed off at Twitch that a lot of people were doing it or that a major company did it. But yeah, if your resident says that you're in the US and you're just traveling to Korea and like on holiday, I think you should still be allowed to stream as long as you're doing
freest place on earth yet again, America. Even in Korea, we're still free, baby.
That's true. That's real.
But yeah, that might affect LCK and VCT because those places, like you can't argue that those are not being broadcast from Korea when the bloody studio's in Korea.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I don't think it does because they broadcast through Striker, right?
I suppose. What? So they would say that it's like a Dublin-based stream.
Well, no, but again, that's just like semantics.
I guess.
Or whatever.
Well, I guess it's semantics in the sense that if somebody complains to Twitch about it, Twitch would need to be able to provide a justification for why the stream is being broadcast without Twitch having to pay money for it.
No, but they're not like they're providing like Riot provides their own infrastructure between their studio and their Dublin Striker or whatever the fuck, wherever the fuck they're broadcasting from, and that is what broadcasts to Twitch. Like, the infrastructure in Korea is not doing anything. It's just Riot is paying whatever to have that infrastructure set up themselves. Like, maybe they're getting charged out the ass for it, but I mean, they farm the Korean region. So.
It shouldn't really affect anything, and worst case scenario, it still gets posted on YouTube anyway, and you know, Africa and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's getting multi-streamed anyway, so
yeah,
not that big of a deal, but it definitely sucks. I think for you know, the wider streaming marketplace and stuff in general, and also Korean players, like in particular Korean players, like you know the DRX guys who barely ever stream, but like you know the people who are trying to make a brand and have massive fan bases on a global level, like can't really tap into that anymore, which.
Nobody's going to find them on AfreecaTV if you're an English-speaking viewer. I don't think that site is really difficult to get through if you don't understand Korean.
It's actually horrible. Like just trying to get through these VODs is so bad, man.
No,
I can't make an account. I can't get out of the ads, man. I'm gonna pay to get out of the ads, but every fucking 10 minutes I'm getting an ad watching the VOD. Like, please.
It's times like these that I really show the most love and appreciation for daily Valorant and like Sentinels just raw.
Valorant Monday, my goat.
Valorant Monday has started posting videos where he's like watch partying the fucking thing because I guess that's how he gets around DMCA, and he just fucking has his face cam sitting there just like this.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. He just recorded a 1-minute loop and just puts it over the whole thing. I fuck with that.
It's crazy.
Shout out to Valorant Monday. Saved me a lot of time. All right. Let's send this thing home. Dude, this new God of War is so cool.
Oh,
Let's go, Wyatt.
Oh,
Why are we?
dude, my back is killing me. All right. This is an easy one. Weekly award. It is going to the CEO of Women, Melanie Capone. What, Josh? What?
Sorry, that's just a funny title. Just
Yeah,
love,
I
just
It's
love
her
that
title.
Mimi
What's funny
said that
about it?
before sometime.
Is there something funny about her job that she's worked very hard to earn?
Would you consider that her primary source of income, or is her
Yes.
primary source of
Yeah.
income? Oh, right. Oh,
no, it's
that's the
definitely
main
the
job.
CEOs
Well,
are so
a man
overpaid
telling
in
a
this
woman
country.
she can't be the
goddamn
CEO
it.
of women, that's pretty fucked up. If you really think, about it, I'm just saying, if you think about it, it's pretty fucked up.
I'm not telling Mel she can't be anything she wants to be.
I mean, this is the easiest Wyatt's Weekly Award of all time on account of Mel has been at the top of the Game Changers scene for years, IGLing the best teams in Game Changers. Long overdue, it feels, for a championship of this magnitude, more than well-deserved, more than earned for a lot of hard work and dedication and striving to be the best that she can be. So that is the easiest weekly award of my entire goddamn life and ever will be. So, all right. Any burning, like, anything that someone needs to get off their chest?
Sorry, I thought you were just going to say bye. I thought that was just mic
That's
drop
just-
end of the
yeah.
episode.
I thought about
That's
it.
it, guys.
Peace.
I thought about it, but just in case, does anyone have anything they're like, I need to say this on my platform?
No.
No.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. I don't
And on
think,
that
personally.
note, on that note, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for watching the last 130 episodes that have been recorded here in the Plat Chat compound. You know, couldn't have been here without the compound, without the opportunity to, you know, be here recording with Josh and Bren in person for all that time. Made a huge difference. The times we had co-streaming here and what that did for the show. It is the end of an era. It has been a fantastic time. But, you know, we're not done. We're just entering a new chapter in the Plat Chat series. So thank you all for watching and hanging with us for this long. The ship keeps on sailing, you know what I mean? All right, we will see you guys next week for episode 158. Goodbye.